without a trace, but their defeat in 45. They all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. They say the prisoner of Spandau was a symbol of defeat. Whilst Hess remained in prison, then the fascists they would beat. So the promise of an Aryan world would never materialize. So why did they all come out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died? The world is riddled with maggots. The maggots are getting fat. They're making a tasty meal of all the bosses and bureaucrats. They're taking over the boardrooms and they're fat and full of pride. And they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. So if you meet with these historians, I'll tell you what to say. Tell them that the Nazis never really went away. They're out there burning houses down and peddling racist lies. And we'll never rest again until every Nazi dies.
Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. The invasion had begun. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. But I feel my time has come, and if I die here for the resistance, oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. And if I die here for the resistance, you must lay me in my grave among the flowers upon the mountain. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Among the flowers upon the mountain, let me rest among the brave. Someday the people will pick the flowers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Someday the people will pick the flowers, and they will remember my name. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of our resistance, and those who died for liberty.
From all of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell of how the good old Union has come in here to dwell.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
My daddy was a miner and I'm a miner's son, and I'll stick with the Union till every battle's won.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
They say in Harlan County there are no neutrals there. You'll either be a Union man or a thug for J.H. Blair.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Oh, workers, can you stand it? Oh, tell me how you can. Will you be a lousy scab or will you be a man?
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Don't scab for the bosses, don't listen to their lies. Us poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Street where the loyal runs do be, and the lovely English people walked all over us. And every single night when they would come home tight, he'd invite the neighbours out with this chorus. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lakes of Gilshandra. Tell us how you slew them old Arabs 2 by 2. Like the Zulus, they had knives, bows and arrows. Of how bravely you faced one with your 16-pounder gun, and you frightened all the natives to the marrow. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lakes of Gilshandra. Hear you tell how you stand a brave Parnell and taught him well and truly persecuted. Where are the stares and jeers that you proudly let us hear when our heroes of 16 were executed? Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lakes of Gilshandra. Show your wife how you won medals up in Derry. You murdered 16 men and you'll do the same again. So get out of here and take your bloody army. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lakes of Gilshandra. Oh, come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders.
Buckingham Palace announced the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
Hello there, hello there, hello there everybody. How the devil are we all? What's up? We good? Hopefully we are. Anyway, we're with No Justice of the MTGs doing stuff and that. So, you know. We're finishing off the question time from last... Well, not from last night. That I covered partly last night, but partly not last night. No. Anyway. It doesn't matter. She did it the other night, a different night, and I got confused. Please ignore the things that I am saying. That's not the correct fucking link, you cunt! Apologies, chat. Apologies. I am very bad at things. My basic motor skills seem to have fucking disappeared, which is good. But Birmingham City did win 2-1 away at Norwich City today, so that's nice. Only 2 points from the playoffs. It's the hope that kills you, chat. It's the fucking hope that kills you. They're giving me hope, and it's going to kill me. The January signings have been very fucking good, though. They're a suspiciously good team now. I'm worried. I can't deal with them being successful. It's annoying. Hello there, Helena. How are you?
Still away go Wagwan to the boys in Tobago. I'm not too bad. How you doing?
I need one eye open for the plain clothes. I need more leg room for the braino. Don't test me on Pete and Baz, all right? I'm a Kit fan.
Isn't it more leg room for the plain home?
Oh, I don't know. I thought it was braino, as in like head. I thought he was talking about getting head.
Right, no.
I don't know. I don't know. But all I'll say is
leg room. I thought it was like the business class seats.
Possibly, but either way, the best line from that song is "I just sparked a man's lights out halogen."
That's an absolute banger. That's a bar.
Then packed him up nights and packaged him, shipped him home next day like Amazon. Ridiculous, too good. Old white people rapping shouldn't be good, but yet it is. Anyway, yes. Talking about old white people, did you see Andy from Norfolk get arrested? Wasn't it funny?
It was incredibly fun. I genuinely was so happy to be able to cover it for Novara Media on the day where the news broke. Just walked into the office and just started singing Cunt and the Gang at the Novara crew.
Yes, yeah, and Prince Andrew's a sweaty nonce. Although, of course, he's not Prince anymore. He's just Andy from Norfolk. He's just scum like us.
A commoner.
Yeah. The first royal to be arrested since 1647. So that's history. That's just happened. But like, oh god. And I don't want to shit on anyone's parade, but I think it's worth pointing out that what he was arrested for was not the crimes against the people that he did, you know, all of those women that he sex trafficked and raped. It was for those crimes against the state. Which just goes to show you that the state will protect itself way before it ever protects you or seeks justice on your behalf.
Yep.
So, like...
Very true.
I don't want to be Debbie Downer on this one, but I feel like that's a worthwhile point worth making in all of this. But also, the fact that it happened on his birthday is
incredible.
Like, there's no way that's an accident, right? Because they'd have done their research on this. They'd have had his information. Look, it's on Wikipedia. Like, you know what I mean? And they did it on his birthday, and I just have to say to the Norfolk police, I apologise, I was not familiar with your game.
Likewise.
Excellent, top-tier banter on his fucking birthday of all days.
Literally, a policewoman turns up at his door, and it is indeed not a strippogram, but the actual Rozzers.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. At what point during that process was he like, these strippers are taking this a bit far? What? They're putting me in a van. I'll be honest with you, I'm not feeling it. Can we... Is there a safe word? What's going on here?
Oh my god.
So that was nice, yeah.
An incredible scenes. Right, shall we crack on with question time? Because I was going to try and do some YouTube after a Twitch stream today, because I've not streamed YouTube since Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
But it's easier to get people to move from Twitch to YouTube than the other way around.
Did you want
to do the Twitch side first?
Did you want me to stick around for that, or are you doing your own YouTube thing? I don't mind. I mean,
there's a couple of things we can do together, but I also want to bash out a bunch of segments and stuff, because I've been pretty lax in getting segments out this week, which is bad. So I want to get a bunch of stuff done. But yeah, there's a couple of stories which I think would be funny to cover together as well.
Okay. Well, we'll do. Actually, it would help, wouldn't it, if I had the fucking video up that we were going to watch? Jesus Christ, Kev, this is poor form.
I mean, it's. I mean, I've definitely done that before.
Yeah. Okay, so I watched the first couple of questions as well, so we can just pick it up at the 37-minute mark.
Perfect.
Yeah, and do that.
It's just how we drew it up.
Indeed. Is that working at all? There we go. Right. Okie doke, everyone. Yeah, so it's the question time that we half did yesterday, chat. So enjoy.
Farmer now, or was it Nicole? I can't. Nicole Farmer now. With new figures showing unemployment rising, what can be done to improve young people's access to stable jobs?
So the latest...
I was thinking about this the other day. In a tangential way, again, because I'm a history fucking nerd, I was listening to an audiobook, and the guy was talking about how the soldiers that were taken as prisoners on from Dunkirk, like they would look like the youth of England that England had ignored or something like that, or had not taken advantage of. And I thought that's sort of similar to now, but I think it's worse now, because it isn't just that the youth have been neglected by successive governments. I think there's been an active push against them. It isn't just neglect or like being, you know, the being left on the shelf. It's that the priorities of the governments that we've had since 1979 have basically been just for the A, upper middle class, and B, boomer generation and a little bit of Gen X, but not much. And the views have been absolutely just abandoned to the wolves. It's been fucking awful.
Well, I feel like there's such a level of disdain towards young people from older people in this country, right? They real kind of spit venom about young people. And it's just crazy. I mean, finally we're getting to the point where young people are starting to give as good as they get, which again, we've been playing nice for too long. I remember when the polls came up showing that young people supported keeping the winter fuel allowance just as much as older people did, because, you know, no one likes seeing their granny not able to heat their home because they just didn't understand the level of wealth inequality between the young and the old in this country. I'm like, no, we're too benevolent. We need to be more selfish, clearly, because we've been taken advantage of by people who fucking hate us. Literally, people who actively despise us, and despise us to the point where our own governments will fucking try and curry favor with how much they hate us by just kind of piling in and engaging with it. It's pathetic.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, boomers wonder why they get so much hate, but yet they have consistently voted for governments all of their existence that have voted to take away my fucking future.
Literally. I mean, I was just kind of thinking this is the kind of thing I would say if this topic came up on a panel if I was on Question Time, right? But like, the boomers were obviously born into a world of increasing prosperity. They got free university education, they got defined benefit pensions, they got access to council housing, they got the bonus of having the public realm sold off, they got the Telcid bonanza from British Gas and things like that, they got the cheap house prices of the 90s and the cheap credit allowed them to be new homeowners, and then also landlords on top of it with buy-to-let mortgages. And then when the job market was screwed up in 2008, they then retired and then got triple locked pensions and a winter fuel allowance. And now young people get defined contribution pensions, no council houses are 10 times average wages. We are now paying rent to the boomers who got the cheap credit in the 90s as landlords because we can't afford to buy and we can't get a council house. The welfare state has been stripped back essentially to irrelevance. And on top of this, the planet is dying and the Nazis are back. I'm sorry, boomers can fuck off. Boomers who complain, right? I saw Janet Street Porter tell Rishi Sunak at his like penultimate budget that he hated old people because he didn't give them anything, and I was just like, fuck off, genuinely fuck off. Apologies to every boomer comrade out there who's part of
absolutely
the broader left in this country who do not subscribe to a bunch of things that boomers nowadays broadly subscribe to. You people are comrades and we love you, but you are a tiny minority, and if you don't know that you're a tiny minority, you need to get out more, because the latest polls have like the Tory reform vote amongst the over 65s at like 60%. It's insane.
Yeah, it's absolutely mad. The numbers are there in black and white, right? The younger you are, the less fucked you are in terms of your politics. It's just a fucking fact. And the right wing have shot themselves in the bollocks, of course, because they've turned off the progressive younger person to older Tory pipeline by ensuring that you can never get into the financially more affluent sections of society. Like, why would you vote to keep house prices high when you don't have a house? And no younger person can afford to buy a fucking house, so they've turned that pipeline off. So they've essentially, what was the Marxist phrase that capitalism creates its own gravediggers.
Literally, I mean, this is happening the world over. This expansion of private asset ownership, especially of things like housing, things that are pretty kind of essential to the economy. They're central to how a modern economy works. I mean, just look at how much they had to get bailed out in 2008 because the governments all knew that the housing sector was the basis on which the whole economy was built, because everyone needs a house. That was always going to create a single asset bubble that was then going to have to go pop eventually. That kind of level of personal housing wealth never existed in at least in the capitalist world pre 1945.
Yeah.
Unemployment rate for 16 to 24-year-olds is 16.1%. That's the highest level in more than 10 years. And for some months now, it's been higher.
I'm sorry to
than
pause
the
again, sorry. It's worth pointing on top of that as well, in that we could have avoided this in the United Kingdom. We could have avoided all of this if we'd not sold off the council housing. We would have been one of the only countries broadly in the West that would have maintained 50% or something like that of socially owned housing. And that would have totally insulated us against this giant property bubble shit that was happening the world over. We would have been able to maintain the social cohesion of council housing, would have maintained the generational fairness of perpetual council housing access had we not sold it off. We took what had been created in the post-war period that could have made us stable in a way that a lot of other Anglosphere countries haven't been, and we incinerated it for nothing.
Yeah, and of course, the social dislocation, which was purposefully engineered by the Thatcherite government, would have been avoided, because you could have a stable situation where a family could live in a house for a long time and you could create community. But of course, that's anathema to the individualist neoliberal concept of the world. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway.
Well, there's a reason why communitarianism is still pretty popular in Singapore, is because they never sold their social housing off.
Yep.
And you've got companies like a recruitment agency, Reed, reporting job advertised roles down by 70% compared to 2023. How old are you, Nicole, if you don't mind me asking? So you're 16, and is this something you're worried about?
Yeah, I think a lot of people...
At least she's safe from Andy.
True.
Like, you've got... That's the thing. When you get to 16, not only can you, like, do certain things that you weren't able to before, but luckily Prince Andrew will leave you alone, because you've probably got pubes. Just saying.
My age and around my age struggle with finding employment now, and also thinking about later in life finding employment.
Right, okay. Gosh, I mean, at 16 you should be living life and loving it, but this is something you're worried about already. Richard?
Look, I mean, Nicole, this is... I had my first job waiting tables as a sort of...
It's just hilarious watching, well, at your age you should be loving life, and I'm just like, the world is dying, Fiona! Literally, we have no fucking future. Every single Zoomer in this country is resigned to the fact that the future is dead.
Yeah.
And that's why all of their humor is completely like detached and esoteric, because what the fuck, all they can really look at in the future is just, hopefully I can get a job that pays enough that I don't starve to death.
Yeah, well, I'm not even a Zoomer, and my retirement plan is to get hit by a bus.
It's a civilizational collapse.
Yeah.
That's my retirement plan.
Yeah, exactly. The heat death of the planet is literally my pension. Oh, to the person in chat. Yes, I did apply to be on the panel, not on the panel, but on in the audience for Birmingham next week. I have not heard back from them yet. I presume I probably won't. But
I think when I heard back, when I applied, they got back to me like 3 days or something before.
Oh, okay.
Recording, so.
Well, that'll be why then, I guess.
Yeah. They asked me for my social medias, and I was like, oh, I will not be giving them to you. So they didn't invite me.
Okay. Well, they can have my social media. It's mostly shit posting and going on about, how I don't like pedophiles, which apparently is a controversial take in 2026.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thing is, if they'd have looked at my social media profile, they would have seen that I didn't actually vote Conservative at the last election.
Well, to be fair, no, it's national, isn't it? Yeah, I was about to say, if it was done on like local polling, saying, "Oh, I voted Labour," would have been fine or whatever, but it doesn't really matter. Anyway, they probably found your YouTube channel. Yeah, fair.
Yeah. What's quite interesting too is that because these audiences are made up by the percentage of the vote at the last election, not by percentage of seats. Like it's no wonder that Labour keep getting absolutely roasted, because not even a third of the people in the audience will have voted for them, because they have a giant majority off a very small vote percentage.
And a huge percentage of the people that did vote for them now hate them. So even the ones that did vote for them don't like them.
Well, yeah, less than half of the last election's Labour voters intend to continue voting Labour.
Adults in the room!
16, 17-year-old. I was so shy at that point. My first girlfriend had to go and get the application form for me. But it really transformed...
How things have changed, Richard.
How things have changed. But it transformed my ability to speak to people, to actually go out there and interact with people of different generations. And I think it really provides a sense of work ethic to people and really gets you, to have your own money, to be able to spend your own money. I think it's such an important thing. Like I was speaking to a little cafe...
Which is why in government you made it impossible for younger people to do any of these things.
Yeah, literally.
Like youth unemployment and youth poverty skyrocketed under both the coalition government and Tory rule. So, what the fuck are you talking about, mate? You are literally a Tory. You don't get to speak about this.
Exactly.
Owner in Billericay just last week at Cloud9, they're really being squeezed by the combination of business rates going up on one side, and on the other side the national insurance rises as well, the national insurance tax which employers have to pay, and the real impact on that has been on part-time and in younger staff where you do.
So the first criticism he makes of government policy in regard to helping young people is, businesses have to pay tax.
Literally.
The Tories have learnt nothing. They are incapable of educating themselves on the reality of the world that has passed them by.
Yeah, again, they're going to get obliterated on the next election. Likewise with Labour, and they'll both fucking deserve it. They're incredibly out of touch. You've never seen levels of being out of touch, right? I think this as well is that, sure, you can make the case that maybe a lack of hiring is down to additional costs placed upon businesses, right? But on top of this, their plan to make this better, whilst appealing to a 16-year-old in the audience, is we would like to cut your pay. We want to cut the minimum wage to make you more employable, rather than doing things like, a job guarantee policy.
Yeah.
Didn't have to pay it until you hit quite a high threshold before. Now you're basically going to pay on anybody who's got a part-time job. And it just means that those starter jobs are just totally out of reach for employers now. They're having to either cut back, raise prices. It's one of the reasons inflation stayed higher for longer. But the fact that we've now got higher youth unemployment than most of Europe, it is, we used to look at places like Spain and Italy and Greece and think, gosh, we'll never be like them because we've always had that flexible labour market. We're not overtaxing business for employing young people. And the real worry for me is that
when he says flexible labour market, what he means is shit.
Yeah.
He means a shit labour market. He means a labour market where businesses have literally all the power and workers have fucking none.
Yeah, basically, when they say flexible, that flexibility only goes one way. The work has to be flexible for the employer, not the other way around. And secondly, it means you don't have any rights.
Yeah, flexible means 0-hour contract. It means the gig economy humping shit for Uber Eats.
Yeah, it's like the more flexible it is to them, the more easily it is for the employer to exploit you.
Literally. And again, if you want to see why this isn't a good thing for anybody, you look at countries with much higher labour force participation than our country. Say, for example, Denmark, where actually they don't have minimum wages. They don't have these kind of one-on-one employer-employee bargaining in terms of wages. They have a consortia of businesses, and you have trade unions representing entire sectors, and it's negotiations between those two that creates the wage floor, and that leads to much higher wages, much higher purchasing power for employees, and that doesn't lead to a disemployment effect. These countries have higher levels of employment than we do, higher levels of labour force participation than we do, showing that this flexible labour market doesn't do anything in terms of getting people into jobs by making it easier for businesses. As you say, it just makes it easier for businesses to exploit the people that they do decide to employ.
Indeed so. Indeed so.
knock-on long-term consequences for people like yourself. Because I had that job opportunity, and it led me to all sorts of different things when I was a teenager. Enabled me to, you know, go and take my first girlfriend on dates and all sorts of things, but also enabled me to, you know, develop all of those soft skills,
needed.
which are so important.
Yeah, look, she doesn't need to be reminded of her mistakes in her youth, okay?
Literally.
Like, she's already mortified that she did date you. That's enough. Has she not been punished enough, chat, really?
For employment later in life. So I think the government should really look again at those business rates, particularly hitting the high street firms and those hospitality businesses and those retail firms. You know, Conservatives have said we will have no business rates for any leisure, hospitality or retail firm on under 110,000 a year. That'd be a huge tax cut for a lot of small high street businesses. And I think it's exactly where the country needs to go. We've got to take taxes off business to enable young people to get jobs.
John?
I think it's bleak in the extreme, and I kind of don't want to be the doom-monger here, but you look at AI and what that's going to be doing for graduate entry jobs. And, you know, I mean, as Richard said,
he's not wrong. I mean, to an extent, I think the hype in terms of the level to which there'll be a disemployment effect because of AI is overblown. But it's not zero. There will be some jobs that are lost to AI, which is why I'm very glad that the Labour government, the party of organised Labour that is currently got a giant majority in government, is doing loads to counteract the issue of AI-based disemployment by embedding AI at the heart of the civil service and encouraging these big tech AI platforms to destroy our fucking labour market.
True.
So thanks.
Yeah. Also, what we didn't mention, although I presume you did mention, and I certainly mentioned yesterday, but worth reiterating, that in the week before a crucial by-election, they've had Reform on for the third straight week, and they didn't have a Green person on. They didn't even have a Lib Dem on, and they've got far more MPs than the fucking Reform Party have. So, like, what's up with that, BBC? Like, you know, I see what you're doing here, and when the Reform Party close you down, you will have earned it. Well done.
It's a very difficult climate to be employing young people, and I'll be very interested to see what happens.
By the way, thank you, Wayward Historian, for gifting a sub to Thinking Sabercat, and thank you, Thinking Sabercat, for 200 bitty bits. We're on a hype train. Toot, toot. So you, chat, can help me in the form of bits and subs and all of that jazz. You should also do that for No Justice of the MTGs, who is a person who needs to eat and pay bills as well. So
please, I would very much like it if you did.
Yes.
I'd also like to say, what were you saying? What if the Reform get rid of the BBC? What's interesting is that there's internal stuff at the BBC essentially saying that we have lost the trust of like the people who vote Reform, so we need to try and pitch stories towards them to regain their trust. And I'm just like, but then you'd have to invent a different reality because that's where these people live.
Yeah.
Like the BBC are going to be kneecapping the sanctity of their own coverage, trying to win over people who already fucking hate them. They're just the Labour Party.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what are they going to do? They have the science editor come on and go, COVID vaccines have cancer in them. Well, and it's being put there by Jews.
But they'll just do more of this fucking debate slop, where it's literally just like, we've got a professor emeritus of virology and of vaccination science versus Bedlam's finest Albert Moonhowler paid by the IEA. And that'll be their way of reaching out by going, well, see, we're treating these positions as if they have equal merit, because otherwise we'll lose the boomer vote. And I'm just like, but it's wrong, it's stupid.
Yeah. Also, did we see, having mentioned the anti-Semitism of the Reform Party there briefly, did we see the campaign organiser from Reform being essentially a sort of Holocaust denier? Thin end of the wedge, but all of that jazz. Here we go. Reform chief, who was backing Matt Goodwin, downplayed the Holocaust numbers. There you go. He said, on social media, this guy, Adam Matula, who is the helping Matt Goodwin campaigning Gorton and Denton, naturally, claimed that 60 to 70% of transgender people are paedophiles. Citation very much needed. That he would never touch a Jewish woman, and used a racial slur. He said 6 million Polish people, including some Jews, they always use Poles to make up the numbers, and on top of that, claim Poles were killing. Just sick. Interestingly, the Board of Deputies and the campaign against anti-Semitism have not mentioned this. They have carried on attacking critics of Israel, though, in case you were wondering.
Wow, I'm not surprised in the slightest.
There you go. In case you were wondering why those groups, who they're actually defending. Anyway, back to this nonsense.
Happens about kind of minimum wage provision for people that are going straight into jobs as well. I think it's incredibly tough, and I think that, you know, graduate tax as well, with some people paying an extra 9% on, if in effect, on their taxes, on, you know, so that someone who hasn't gone to university is actually much better off than someone who's got a student loan to pay off. You know, I'd love to think that there was this kind of magic thing that you could just do, but you know, I kind of look back at when, you know, I was 22 and starting at the radio station in Southampton, Radio Solent, and you know, I was earning £8,000 a year, and a house was 30,000, and you could afford to buy. And I think this problem of affordability for young people now is terribly difficult. And I think the scales in our system, our fiscal system, are way too much balanced, can I say, old farts like me, where the boomer generation have got the triple lock and they've got free prescriptions and they've got... I don't think the social policy is geared enough towards helping young people.
Okay.
I didn't expect John Sopel to say anything particularly profound tonight, but that was actually the best answer that we're going to get.
I agree. And what's crazy is, like, the whole audience are clapping. I'm just like, fuck off. Fuck you. Don't pretend to care. Don't pretend to care now when you were calling all of us voting for Jeremy Corbyn anti-Semites and Trotskyists and student politics and naive children, right? We had an entire political movement based around this very specific fact, and we were treated as persona non grata as if we didn't know what we were talking about. And now I've got the entirety of both the press and also parts of the general public and the political and media class all hand-wringing about how bad young people have it. And I'm like, fuck off. Should have said something when we built our own political movement. Because again, it has to be something that they notice. It can't be something that we build.
Yeah. But like, again, it's the eternal curse of being a leftist, is that you're right too early.
Yep.
Man in the white t-shirt, yeah.
Understanding as well about how the minimum wage, although it is trying to be rise to the same age as people, companies won't hire people my age due to the fact that they're not experienced. They will go for older people.
How old are you?
I'm 19.
Right.
So there's businesses would not choose to hire people.
So let's get rid of the minimum wage. Is that your fucking argumentation, you fucking idiot?
And also on top of this, like, first of all, this is already starting to reverse. We're seeing the trend reverse where people are starting to look at qualifications rather than experience, because there is a need to hire more people when you can't just hire fucking 50-year-olds forever because they're going to retire.
Yes.
And second of all, like, you can just fix this with state policy. Have more training. Have a national job guarantee. Ensure that you can fill what the private sector won't. If they're going to engage in a capital strike, you undermine them using the levers of the state.
Literally.
People my age, they choose more experience, which will then make us and unemployment go up as it is seen.
Okay, and there's a woman in a black top over there.
We've spoken quite a lot about different demographics, but one demographic I don't think we've covered is the general working population with sort of your average jobs and average salaries. We've got mortgage rates that are going up this year because of the interest rates. The lifting of the two-child benefit cap, personally for me, is something that I didn't want to see. I work hard, my husband works hard.
Literally fucking hate these people. Why? I hate the fact that the government decided to not continue to murder children.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck if you and your husband work hard, particularly. That doesn't mean you get to be like, well, we work hard, so why should poor people not starve?
Interesting that she never seemed to care when we were giving out subsidies to the fossil fuel industry.
Yeah. I bet if we looked into the jobs that her and her husband do, those companies probably receive significant tax breaks for various things. But, you know, it's entirely them. It's entirely down to their hard work, I'm sure.
We have one child. Would we have liked more? Yes, but we made a decision not to because financially we couldn't afford.
Well, I'm annoyed you have one kid. I don't want cunts like you breeding. Simple. Your genes are not required. Go away.
Afford it, and yet to see workers then have the high rate tax.
By the way, dickhead, just to point out, most people who receive these benefits are also fucking workers. So shut the fuck up. It's not like, I know you live in like Benefit Street fucking fantasy land where everyone's sitting at home with 10 fucking widescreen TVs and a Ferrari in the fucking drive, living on universal credit. It's not fucking real.
It's insane the level to which people have been propagandized to believe this fantasy world exists when it just doesn't. Like when people were trying to claim that there was PIP fraud. It's Davey was trying to claim there was PIP fraud. I'm like, the evidence shows the total opposite, and that the entirety of the PIP fraud together is so negligible it's essentially 0%.
Yeah, like it. Not only are they not taking advantage of it, like the two-child benefit cap led to child homelessness reaching the highest level it has ever been since records began. I don't know if technically slum living counted as homelessness, whatever, back in the Victorian age. But let's say in the last 100 years, the highest it's ever been. That includes during the fucking Blitz, by the way, when homes were destroyed. Just saying.
Fixed as well. It just seems that at the moment the workers are getting squashed and squashed and squashed when we're trying to do the right thing.
I know one worker I'd like to squash quite a lot right now, actually. I won't mention them. I won't mention them. It doesn't need to be said. But
And it's just not working for us.
Okay. Yes, and the woman in the green sleeveless top there.
Scum! You're all scum!
Given the number of graduates that are unemployed, would it not be better, rather than encourage them to take out huge student loans that never get repaid, to put incentives into employees to bring back the old-fashioned apprenticeship system?
Okay, and I'll just quickly hear from the woman next to you.
If these companies are so fucking tight-wadded that they're not going to even hire people for entry-level jobs without paying them below the living wage, what makes you think that they're going to want to shell out to do all the training as well?
Yeah, they're not.
And on top of this, like...
Any change that's going to happen at all is going to need government investment. But employers are not going to solve this. If the free market could have solved it, it already fucking would have. We've given them plenty of chance and opportunity to do it. They have not. So clearly, government is going to have to step in at some point and do something about this. We can't just carry on with this neoliberal laissez-faire bullshit. It's demonstrably leading to the quality of life and the average life expectancy going down. And
richest country in the world.
The average height of young people is an inch lower than it used to be because of malnourishment. They are not growing as tall because of malnourishment in a very, very rich country.
Thank you, George Osborne, for that.
Brilliant.
I think that man should be fucking hauled in front of a human rights tribunal. He's such a monster. Such a monster.
And ironically, probably the worst person of the three terrible people that Keir Starmer wanted to send to Washington, D.C. as ambassador.
Yeah, literally, you know?
Like, it's mad when you're in a race with fucking Peter Mandelson, the yum-yum friend of Epstein, and you're worse. Like, Jeffrey Dahmer? Would Jeffrey Dahmer have had to be on the fucking list for him to be in the silver medal position on that podium of cunts? God almighty.
I just feel like we've sat and watched policies over sort of 20-odd years, really, where we've reduced support for sort of health visitors, for children's centres. We've now seen more and more children and young people with mental health issues. There's no youth clubs. And it feels like we've just done a sort of a whole blanket policies of trying to do the worst we can for our children and young people, and I just can't understand where we've got to.
Yep. That's literally what I was saying. Yeah, we've actively made younger people's lives and expectancy worse.
The issue is that the reason why we're in this position is because all of those amenities that she's talking about, in terms of health provision, in terms of community centres and youth centres, and things that would usually be provided by local authorities, these things were sold off. £15 billion. That is a gigantic amount of assets owned by local authorities were forced to get sold off under the Cameron Osborne administration to try and pay for budget shortfalls caused by the fact that George Osborne slashed block grants for local authorities during the austerity period, right?
Yeah.
They forced them to do even more in terms of their obligatory spending on adult social care and on temporary accommodation, cut their overall block grants from the central government, and to pay this extra debt that they had to sell assets, right? And you can only sell assets once. That is not continual revenue. That is essentially a single lump sum. Once you've spent all of that, you're still going to be in the red.
Yeah.
And these things were important for community cohesion. They were important for keeping young people not only well-adjusted individuals for society, but also keeping their mental health well, and also preventing them from getting into crime and things like that. And they were sold off because George Osborne wanted to pad the fucking asset portfolios of the shareholders of the massive fucking mega corporations that donated to the Conservative Party. It's obscene. It is fucking obscene.
Yeah.
And a tiny group of incredibly rich people wanting to absolutely rip apart the social fabric of this country to back their billionaire mates on the backs of the young people in this country. He's scum.
Yeah, absolutely. And to further that point of them helping just a small elite of rich bastards who funded the Conservative Party, not only did they sell those things off as a one-time kind of thing, but also they undersold it to the tune of billions. Literally, we lost billions of pounds on the sale, say, of the post office. We know that for a fact. If they'd sold them at what was actual market rate, the taxpayer would have had billions of pounds more. But they short sold it specifically to make it a cheaper investment for their rich friends and make them more money.
It's true. It's also worth pointing out too that it wasn't even George Osborne that sold off Royal Mail. It was Vince fucking Cable. So if you vote Liberal Democrat, if you're someone who's ever thinking about voting Liberal Democrat, that's what you're voting for. You're voting for yet another people. You're voting for yet another group of people who, just like the Conservative Party, who work in the interest of mega corporations and big business and Daniel Kretinsky, and not you.
Yeah, basically, yes.
So Heidi, Nicole, at the grand old age of 16, is worrying about how she's going to find a stable job in the future, and what you're looking at is the graduate sort of jobs crisis. Some of them are describing it as. What can be done to improve the situation?
So I totally understand where you're coming from, and I was thinking back to my first job actually when I left university, and I did for a temporary period of time. I worked in a call centre, and of course some of those jobs where people are phoning up businesses now aren't actually getting to speak to a human being. You find a chatbot, it drives some people absolutely mad, doesn't it, that experience? And so the world of work is definitely.
Why is your government giving contracts to AI companies if you think that it's bad that they're taking people's jobs? Why are you giving so much room for these big tech companies to take jobs away from people as part of your central government policy for increases in productivity if you think that it's bad?
Well, because Yum Yum got him a meeting with Peter Thiel in New York that was off the record. So you just get a big contract. That's how that works.
How is it just too much to ask to just not have a fucking corrupt government of monsters? It's so frustrating. So frustrating to have to deal with these people.
Yeah, but have you considered that Zach Polanski did a slightly old school setup in a TV advert? So that's game over.
Changing, and I understand why it's so important that.
And then we had to listen to people who own chateaux in the south of France tell us how the working class really live.
Literally, we'll definitely come to that after this when we get to YouTube.
The government commits to giving decent employment opportunities to young people. We are rolling out something called our Youth Guarantee, which will mean that for every
gold-plated apprenticeship, it's coming down the track, chat. Get ready for it. It doesn't fucking mean anything, but it's happening.
It's also worth pointing out the youth guarantee is not a guarantee, right? No. A job guarantee or a training guarantee is a voluntary, it's an optional thing that you can have access to from the government to undercut businesses, to force them to have their own training programs or to increase their own standards at their jobs to compete with the state acting as the employer of last resort. Yeah. This is not that. This is called workfare. Because what this is threatening people with forced employment unless they lose their benefits. That is the thing that they are trying to do here. Like, if you're unemployed for a certain amount of time, they will force you to engage with this youth guarantee, and they have gotten you employed in the private sector. So it's essentially people losing their jobs at Poundland, getting on universal credit, and the government then forcing them to do an apprenticeship at Poundland for less than what they were working at before.
Yeah, cheeky bit of slave labour. Always good.
One of the companies that signed up for their fucking workfare scheme is Severn Trent Water, one of the privatised water companies pumping shit into the rivers.
And where I get my water from, because it's not a competitive market. You either have Severn Trent Water or you die of thirst.
Yep, same. Love the Midlands.
Yay!
It's also that same. It was the Severn Trent boss was the one who had the secret meeting with Will Hutton behind the scenes before the election to ensure that there was a model for changing the water industry that didn't involve nationalisation.
Brilliant. Again, can we just have a government that isn't full of corrupt bastards, please? Please.
It's just incredible, isn't it?
Young person aged between 18 and 21 who is in receipt of universal credit for 18 months or more, they will get a guaranteed 6-month job placement. We're investing hugely.
So not a job placement. Very interesting legal language there. Because it's not a job, is it? What it is you do 6 months of very cheap labour.
It's workfare. That's exactly what it is.
Exactly. And the company gets to just go, oh, we've got 6 months from this dickhead, and then they can fuck off. Because they're not going to get a job at the end of it. None of the workfare people did.
And also, again, like, they've tried this 1,000 times too, and no company even wants to sign up for it, even with the cheap labour, because they know they're going to get workers who don't want to be there.
Yeah.
And they know they're going to get workers, A, who don't want to be there, and B, people who it's not worth training up because they know they're going to get passed on in 6 months' time. It's every time they've tried workfare, it's failed, right? And what's crazy is them trying to advertise it as a job guarantee when it just isn't. It's like this government drives me around the bend. It really does.
Yeah.
Over £1 billion in apprenticeships as well. I was with a whole group of apprenticeships at Transport for Wales yesterday.
I think you mean apprentices. Apprenticeship is the thing they do. You were with people. It's a little bit disrespectful. Like, I know it's a slip of the tongue, but like, at least try, for fuck's sake.
Who are not only getting the benefit of learning on the job, but are also studying. And so getting more high quality apprenticeships is something that this Labour government is absolutely committed to. But the most important thing that we can do for you, Nicole, is to get the economy firing on all.
Are there any Labour ministers who aren't dead behind the eyes? Are there any?
Ed Miliband, that's it. He's the only one left.
Yeah, pretty much.
What's interesting as well is, like, he seemed more dead behind the eyes when he was the leader of the party, whereas nowadays he's really kind of got his mojo back. It's really. We don't know if you watch any of his TikToks, Kev.
I've been following it a little bit. Yeah. He seems to have a bit of the joie de vivre. Yes.
I guess now he doesn't have like the responsibility of kind of shepherding the party. He's just been given his own little brief, his own little world of energy policy, which he's really genuinely interested in. Does all his policy documentation. He just wants to see this thing through to the end.
Yeah.
It's quite sweet, really.
Yeah.
He seems totally out of place in this cabinet full of absolute fucking honking great cunts.
Yeah, exactly. Like, now that he doesn't have the press like analysing how he eats a fucking pork sandwich. Now he can just sit in his office and just squirrel away at his nerdy little energy policies. He seems a lot happier, yeah. Which, you know. But again, he is part of a genocidal cabinet, though, so let's just keep it in check.
4 cylinders. We have secured over £340 billion of private investment since we came into government. That means more businesses locating here, businesses growing. We saw inflation come down this week, which is good news for businesses. If interest rates come down again, we've had 6 interest rates cuts. That means it's cheaper for businesses to borrow and to expand. And so, look, that's why it's so critical that we do have stability in the government. We have had to take some difficult decisions as a government, but they've been the necessary decisions to create those.
They've just had a £30 billion budget surplus, If you don't have to take any hard decisions anymore, the money is there and available to put into investment. You don't need to cut back. In fact, you are making unemployment worse by not spending that money into the economy, which is the other side of the fucking balance sheet.
Yeah, yeah. Also, whenever they say difficult questions, you have to ask the question, difficult for who? Because not difficult for you, difficult for, you know, the incredibly poor people you're trying to immiserate.
Conditions for economic growth, because if we get those new high quality jobs, that's the way in which people like you can look forward to the future with confidence and know that when you're 18, when you're 21, there's going to be good quality jobs there for you.
What about the point made by the man in the back in the white t-shirt? I think what you refer...
So difficult for whom? I've just been corrected on English by a fucking Austrian.
Is it Vogel?
Yeah, it doesn't. That doesn't feel good. I'll say to you, Vogel. Hitler, Hitler, Hitler. Shut up.
I also like go easy on him, Vogel. He's the Brummie. He doesn't speak real English.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
So actually, what's funny? I mean, you're the Brummie I've met who has the most erudite English I've ever met. So.
Yeah, no. Basically, I'm the poshest person in Birmingham. Not the richest, the poshest. Because honestly, there's a thing here. We downplay it all. There's like when someone says they're posh or whatever, or when you refer to someone as posh, yeah, but he's Birmingham posh.
Birmingham posh, right?
Like if you're posh and you live in Birmingham, you ain't that fucking much. Like you live in Edgbaston, not fucking Belgravia. Shut the fuck up.
It reminds me of when we watched the Samuel Leeds videos, and you're just like, Birmingham disavows its relationship with Samuel Leeds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's a knobhead. Yeah, he's a fucking prick. Thankfully, he left though, didn't he? He lives in Spain or some shit now. So
Dubai, I think it was.
So one less wanker. Good stuff. Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
Oh shit! That reminds me. His brother wanted to debate me. He said they literally sent a business email to me, and I said, "Yeah, I'll get back to you to do a debate." I just totally forgot to reply because
Is it too late now? Is it one of those things where it's gone past the point where it would be reasonable to actually get back to them?
Well, I'll probably respond with what actually happened. Sorry, I stopped paying attention to my emails because the Prime Minister almost resigned. So.
Fair enough. Yeah. I'm posher than kid. Well, I'm not actually posh. It's just I went to university and they knocked the accent off you. So that's how that works. So I don't sound very Birmingham, you know.
Well, that's what's funny is that in the mind of the media, you are posh now because you went to university, despite the fact that fucking 50% of young people from our generation went into higher education. Right, like it's not a class distinguishing factor anymore.
Although I was the first in my family to go. It was genuine news. Like my mum, God bless her. Oh, she was so mental about it. Every time we go to a family function, she would parade me around like some sort of fucking zoo exhibit. He's going to uni. He's our Kev's going to the fucking university. Good God. He's gonna be the fucking Prime Minister, isn't he? Oh, for fuck's sake.
Well, you'd have thought that all of that level of kind of veneration for the social mobility of our generation would have led to the broader our parents' broader generation from wanting to nurture those people who were supposed to be the backbone of the new economy, and then they just did the total opposite.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying your mum voted for the Tories or anything, but
no, my mum's solidly. Well, she's not very political, but she just said. Well, she used to just say, "Well, I just vote for the Labour guy because the Tories can fuck off." Like that. That was it. That was as deep as her politics ever went. And now she's like, I don't like them either, so I just don't fucking bother. She doesn't swear. Bizarrely, all the swearing is from my dad, who's an Irishman, who's like a fucking hardcore socialist.
Of course, the Irishman swears. Like there would be discommunication from the Irish.
Well, I said I have to explain this to Americans. I was raised by an Irishman who uses the word cunt as punctuation. It's in his sentence. Everything is a feck or a cunt. Everything, right? Every other word is a swear word. And my mum virtually never swears. Right? It's bizarre, a mixture of people they were. Anyway, or are, I suppose, but they're divorced and all the rest of it. But yeah, and so when you hear me say that word, the cultural distinction is very different. In Britain, it's not treated in the same way. It's a much more casually used word, although it's still a swear word, of course. And secondly, if I didn't use it, my head would explode. Like, it's just the Irish is in me, you know. I can't not do it. So basically, take your cultural imperialism and fuck off, you cunt. Go on.
I feel like your mum is just kind of a nice little kind of a microcosm of the median voter in this country, really, especially in that area of the country. It's just like, I used to vote Labour, but now everyone sucks. So I can't be bothered anymore. Record low voter turnout the last election.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And of course, a person who's not very political.
Yeah.
Which most people aren't. You got to bear in mind, we're the freaks here that give a fuck and watch this shit. Like, most people are watching fucking Dancing on Ice in the Jungle or whatever the fuck. I don't know, all that bollocks, right? So, you know, it's... although my mate, she won the dancing dinner, Karen Carney. She was in my year at school, Karen Carney.
Hey.
Yeah. England international, fucking legend, won the dancing. Boom. St. Peter's Pride worldwide. What?
So, because was from the subject of people watching reality television, maybe we have time for I'm a 15-year-old at Balmoral, get me out of here.
Oh, God. Okay, yeah. Or, frankly, given the way in which we have had public documents being given to foreigners all the time by members of the upper class, basically just traitors. We'll just do traitors.
Literally just the traitors.
Yeah.
Yeah, people like me, you're 19, is the idea, and this is something that Labour has committed to, of raising the minimum wage for 18 to 20-year-olds the same as those above that age. It looks like the government's thinking, well, I don't want to...
Also, like, not to go back to it too much, but, like, they're now looking to remove Andy from Norfolk from the line of succession. Now, it doesn't really matter, he's like 20th in line or some shit now. Like, why was he still in there? We know he's a fucking nonce. We know he's a sweaty nonce. Why is he still in that line of succession at all? I mean, firstly, why do we have a line of succession? It's ridiculous throwback to the Middle Ages. It's embarrassing. We're basically a Dark Age country. Fucking grow up, you cunt. Right? But if we're going to have that, why is Nancy McNonceface still in there at all?
It's crazy, isn't it?
Like, it feels annoying to me, because, like, I know I'm, like, 70 millionth in line, but it's annoying that he's still ahead of me. Why? Also, it'd be very funny if I did become king. A lapsed Catholic atheist as the head of the Church of England would be very funny.
Oh my fucking God, yeah, let's go.
Word again, but it's looking like that might be dropped. Is that the case?
So the minimum wage for young people will go up to £10.85 an hour in April of this year.
So asking about 18 to 20-year-olds specifically.
Yeah, so that is for those people.
So it will go
up. It will go up in April by 85p to £10.85. That is still less than what the national minimum wage is. Since we came into government, we did promise to significantly increase the national minimum wage, because we know that the cost of living pressures that people are experiencing are real at the moment. It's causing real pressure on household budgets. And so we think it was the right thing to do, to give an income boost to the lowest paid in our country, given those cost of living pressures. And it's why the minimum wage for young people will go up to £10.85 in April.
Robert?
Well, it's a mess at the moment, isn't it? The economy is in a very bad place, and absolutely everyone you speak to is feeling hard up right now. All the bills are going up, wages are stagnating, companies are laying people off. Every business I visit across the country is putting off...
So just like when you were in government as a Tory, then?
I mean, what's funny is that none of that's actually true. I mean, if you actually look at the broader macroeconomic picture, wages have been outpacing inflation for the last, year. We're clearly coming up to the other end of the business cycle, which is why unemployment is going up, right? The economy is no longer hot, which is why we're starting to see inflation come down and the wages start peaking. He is right to say that bills are still too high. But that's nothing to do with, the labour market policy. That's an issue with privatisation and monopolisation, right?
Yeah. And just in case anyone was wondering if the Reform Party were going to be the Tories, this guy would be Chancellor of the Exchequer in a future Reform government. So it's literally it's just Liz Truss's cabinet. Basically, with Nigel Farage instead of Liz Truss. Yeah.
Same person at this point, but
yeah.
What's interesting, he's so Tory. Robert Jenrick is so Tory. His speech that he did about his economic prospectus at their little unveiling of their group of spokespeople that they pretend as a shadow cabinet. He sent that speech off to be checked in terms of the ideological platform by George fucking Osborne. He directly messaged George Osborne and said, "Here's my speech, what do you think?"
Yeah. So, like, you know, they're so populist, though. They're against the corrupt elite running the place. You know, definitely.
And George Osborne, previous Chancellor of the Exchequer, like member of the Bullingdon Club, Oxbridge graduate, former editor of the Evening Standard, and current employee of OpenAI, in no way represents the establishment.
No. They're an insurgent grassroots political party.
Exactly.
Investment or parting company with staff. Factories are closing. Energy bills are going up because of the ridiculous energy policy.
How come there's no green on the panel? Because the BBC is fantastically corrupt.
Being pursued by Ed Miliband, and it's young people of all who are suffering the most. And I feel very sad when I meet people.
As if you can tell how much of an evil bastard this guy is, that the one semi-decent, kind of okay member of the cabinet is the one he's called out by name. Literally the opposite of reality. Brilliant. Well done.
Like you, Nicole, because you should be thinking that this country has buzz and excitement about it. You should be looking forward to your future instead of feeling as worried and concerned as you do right now.
Pause.
I feel like the social...
Yeah, she's worried about the future, Robert, because the energy policies that you want to put into practice, in lieu of the ones currently being put into practice, will burn the planet to a fucking crisp and take away her future forever.
Net stupid zero!
The contract for young people has been shredded, not just in the last 2 years, but frankly over the last 10 or 20 years.
And who was in government for most of that time? Roberto! Any thoughts?
Because young people are going to struggle to get on the housing ladder because successive governments haven't built enough homes. You're going to get taxed.
You built like 3 fucking houses in 14 years, mate. Fucking do one.
To the hilt. Childcare is incredibly expensive. If you're a little bit older, the best days of your life at university might have got ruined by overbearing COVID regulations. Life is tough.
God almighty, these people are just... What world are you in? You know what would have been really much better for your university days? If you just died. That would have been way better. If you and your classmates had just been wiped out by a rampant pandemic, that would have been way better. Think of the banter at all of the funerals you couldn't have gone to because you're already dead.
Just this again. When I first reacted to this, I was like, no one's more. I think Robert Jenrick is the man in politics, the most slimy, the most slimy motherfucker in politics. He genuinely makes me angry looking at his face.
Look, it's so obvious that he's jumped ship for his own personal political ends, and he's like, I'm ambitious for the country. Honestly, I hope terrible things happen to you, Robert. I really do.
And government is going to have to step in and fix this. The answer is, as Heidi said, to get the economy going again. But everything that Rachel Reeves is doing is moving things in the opposite direction. If you cared about stability, you wouldn't have had 10 or 20 different U-turns. If you care about employment, stop hiking taxes on jobs. It's not that difficult. Don't increase...
Love it. Well, the only people clapping this are the boomers who rely on those taxes to have their triple lock pension funded.
Yeah. Also, anyone clapping that needs to be put on the list.
Dignitas. Sorry. Sorry. I just channeled the spirit of what's the Labour MP who did the assisted dying bill?
Oh, Kim Ledbetter.
Yeah, sorry. I was just channeling. I kind of got kind of possessed by the spirit of Kim Ledbetter there. I didn't mean that. I didn't actually mean to send people to.
Who's just been assigned as the Secretary of State for Death.
the Grim Reaper of the cabinet.
Yeah, the Angel of Death. Don't forget to put blood above your door, otherwise she will visit.
National insurance, a tax on jobs, just at a time when the economy is in a difficult spot, and just at the time, as John said, AI is transforming the jobs market altogether. So it means...
Alan Bastard, great call. He is a bit Alan Bastard, yeah. Also, that takes me back to my uni days, because I spent my dad bought me. He found it in a charity shop, the full box set of the Alan Bastard series, and I went to on videotape. God Almighty, the DVDs already existed, man. Jesus. Anyway, and I spent many an hour in the library at the university watching it on video, because I didn't have a video player. So I just went there and got a big bag of Rebels and a bottle of Coke and just watched hour after hour of it, because I'm so rock and roll. That was the two things I did to relax. I'd go and watch Alan Bastard, or I'd play snooker on my own and get drunk.
I mean, as I said, as someone who also enjoyed playing snooker on my own, we definitely need to sort out.
Yeah.
Having a couple of frames.
But I was oh god, I was such a fucking ponce though.
Carry the frame.
By the second year, I was wearing a tweed jacket with leather patches, smoked a pipe briefly, and I used to carry around a Tony Benn book or Karl Marx with the title outwards, so everyone would know I was reading it. Honestly, I feel very sorry for the women that were tricked into sleeping with me. I'm very sorry.
You know what? I feel the same every day.
Yeah.
Is that you're in this terrible situation where jobs in, say, the service, in, say, the hospitality...
You thought I was a little bit country? Honestly, no. I think we should pave over the countryside. If there's not cement under my feet, I'm not interested. I'm the least country person you will ever fucking meet.
Industry. You being priced out because the pubs and the cafes and restaurants are closing or just can't afford to take people on. And then graduate level jobs are being decimated by AI. The number of entry-level jobs at graduate level has fallen by almost 40% in a year. So you couldn't think of a word...
Did I actually read? I did actually read them, though, to be fair. I read voraciously, yeah. I always have.
Yeah, see, I mean, what's funny is you always say, like, oh, Helena's the one who's just better concept. I'm like, you're the one who actually reads. I don't read.
Well, you read Mariana Mazzucato. So...
That's true, And I read papers and articles.
Yeah,
I don't really read, like,
books and things. That's, yeah, well, it is what it is. But yeah. No, my dad always said, you've got to read. He forced us to read. He used to, God bless him. We'd get a pocket money, but you had to. He did this thing. You get £1, right, and you get 10p for every one you got right. You had to learn a word. You had to learn 10 words from each. Like you do A, and then the next week would be B, C, D, and all the rest of it, and then we'd start again. You have to learn 10 words, how to spell them, and the meaning of the word. And you get 10p for every one you get right. And then the next week you do B and C, and so he drilled it into us. You have to read, you have to do this, you have to do that, because he realised that education was the way out. Because basically, when he grew up, school was sort of optional in rural Ireland. Like most people were just in the fields, and then they might turn up to school once a week or something, you know. And he always regretted it, because he's literate, don't get me wrong, but he's not like fantastically literate. I had to tell him, God bless him, I had to tell him that there are 2 R's in February about 2 years ago, because he didn't know. He didn't know. He said, I've never had to spell the word February before, so like, why would I know that?
Yeah, it's already written on the calendar. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, why do?
A limited edition copy of my book each.
Also,
if you promise to read it.
Yeah. Generic saying, well, all the graduate jobs have gone because of AI, and I'm like, well, maybe there are some graduate jobs that have gone because of AI, but in reality, the reason why we have fewer graduate jobs and a lower graduate premium is because we engaged in insane macro policy for 15 years. When we were in a liquidity trap where money was so cheap for the government that we had businesses desperate to buy government debt to the point where they were almost paying the government to take it on. We almost had negative yields on government bonds. And that could have been used for a giant investment plan that would have been able to create new startup businesses to take advantage of all of these graduates and create those jobs. And instead, we took money out of the economy and used quantitative easing to increase the prices of financial assets and of houses. Yeah. So we, if you look at our overall graduate premium, had that continually drop, especially outside of London, every single year from 2010 till 2020. And yet in the United States, where they just didn't do austerity.
Yeah.
Those graduate jobs continued having their premium increasing, and the number of jobs available still kept increasing.
Yeah.
And now those interest rate periods are over. we now have AI coming as well to knock off even more jobs, right? We've had a double whammy of terrible macro policy from the Tories. Again, the Tories that he praised in his video, his first thing they did in his Tory leadership video was praise Cameron and Osborne for their economic policies. And then on top of that, they got the AI people, all the fun motherfuckers on this table, they're all bought out by the AI companies, that he also wants to do as well. Again, the only reason why they don't want to build graduate jobs is because they don't want graduates, because they don't vote for the right wing.
Yeah. Oh, that's a belter. No Justice MTG is here to lead, not to read.
Very true, very true.
No Justice McBain. Thank you, Vogel, with Biddy Bits, who says, I'd send you a limited edition copy of my book each if you two promise to read it. Well, I can't speak for No Justice, but if you send it to me, I'll read it. Yeah.
I will almost certainly not read it, I'm sorry.
Well, apparently, you might enjoy it because it's like sci-fi shite or something, so I don't know. But
if you've got an audiobook, I'll listen to it.
You lazy cunt! Jesus Christ!
Yep. I can't read in 2 times speed, Kevin. Now can I?
No, that is true. You can't do that. But that, I mean, okay. I'm not even gonna.
I love audiobooks. Like I don't.
Well, I listen to audiobooks, but I still listen to them at normal speed because, like, it's what? How do you take it in at 2.0 speed?
In the same way that I take in all the videos I watch at 2.0 speed.
Yeah, but YouTube slops different to a novel. Sure, though. I don't know.
I guess.
Yeah. I have recorded me reading the book for 14 hours. Oh, that's mental. Okay.
Oh shit! I will. In which case, I can listen.
Okay. Well, Vogel, get in touch then. I guess. I don't know.
Worst time in our recent economic history to do what Rachel Reeves has done, which is to hike taxes on jobs. And you, I'm afraid, are bearing the brunt.
You were part of a government that led to the highest tax take or highest tax percentages we've seen since the Second World War. A Conservative government that let in 1 million people and had the highest taxes in fucking recent memory. You're not Conservatives. You're not. Stop pretending.
To be fair, but probably what happened in both of these cases is that they went to the OBR and said, we want to cut these taxes and also decrease migration this much. And the OBR went, okay, if you do that, you'll be in permanent recession. And they were like, oh.
Well, literally, we saw what happened. The libertarian fantasy land had its chance. Liz Truss tried it. It instantly crashed the economy.
Yep.
Because it's not real. Again, capitalists don't really seem to understand capitalism very well. Which is one of the reasons they support it, because they think it's something different than it actually is.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to take one more question. We've got about 8 minutes or so, I think. From Abe Jain. Where are you sitting? Off you go.
With rising unemployment and cost of living, should we pause net immigration as we have no jobs or affordable housing?
We never talk about immigration.
We never talk about immigration. And I'm so glad we've got Robert Jenrick, former immigration minister, during the fucking Boris wave, to do this, to answer this question. That's very sensible. I'm glad that's happening. Honest.
So I'm assuming you think it should be paused?
Unfortunately, yes. Almost to the point of we can't even get...
This is what we like to call pulling the ladder up behind you.
I mean, you're perfectly reasonable to make economic arguments for lack of migration, regardless of your background, right? Like, if there was an economic case to be made for reducing migration, I'm all to hear it, right? Like, I am far more attached to the sanctity of the Refugee Convention and treating asylum seekers with dignity than I am broadly of an increase in regular migration on work visas or whatever. Unfortunately, though, the reality is the total opposite. In fact, we will, again, as I pointed out before, go into permanent recession. That's what this Labour government is absolutely kneecapping growth by stripping away the increase in productive members of society that we otherwise would have if we continued migration, whilst our population pyramid gets increasingly top-heavy as boomers continually start retiring and we age our population to creating a country which is basically a finance sector in London with a retirement home attached to it everywhere else, right? It is totally unsustainable to not keep immigration. Like, it's not sustainable to reduce immigration in the slightest, right? I understand why people don't want it. Like, they might work in a sector where it's oversubscribed by migration, so they might see lower wages, whilst people in lower areas of migration might see higher wages, for example, that distortion of the labour market based from sector to sector. But that's the reality of what will happen if we don't allow our population to age.
But like, there is no argument, it seems to me, on an economic basis, and not just that, but like, I presume he's about to go, you can't get a house, you can't get a job, you can't do this, that, and the other. That's not immigration. That's the fact that the government policy has essentially been to not interfere with any of these things, and the free market can't solve them, and the government seems absolutely incapable or unwilling, mostly the latter, of interfering with, you know, any of these things in order to actually get the infrastructure we need to accept this. Because bringing in a number of people isn't the problem. It's, do you have the infrastructure waiting for them? And we haven't. And so we've had ever increasing populations and no infrastructure being built. So we've got 1960s infrastructure trying to where we had like 50 million people, trying to now house and transport and all the rest of it 70 million people. It just can't work.
Exactly, and that's happening in not only just housing, but in water, in like a public transport. None of these things have had the requisite investment necessary. Again, which we should have done when interest rates were 0%. But of course, Tory austerity is the dumbest ideology ever conceived by mankind. But whatever. But in the same way that like we did all of this investment in, you know, the 60s and 70s when we had all of the people who saw the baby boom in the 50s come of age where they started working and wanting to buy houses. We had all the council houses waiting for them to go into. It's interesting how loads of people say, well, we can't have migration because we can't increase the population, but also want to increase the birth rate. And I'm like, so you admit that actually more people is fine. You just want people of a certain background.
Yes.
Because again, reality is that the Ponzi scheme of capitalism requires an increase in birth rate to be able to, again, as I pointed out, look after the aging population who are going into retirement.
True.
Jobs. Young people can't even afford houses.
Okay.
And that's the fault of immigrants. How is that an immigrant's fault? Like, governments have purposely chosen to have ever-increasing house prices to appeal to boomers who vote. That's it. It's got nothing. It's got nothing to do with immigrants. It's to do with like crusty, mostly old white people.
Yeah, exactly. Like the government's decided immigration was okay because it was necessary to increase productive capacity. Because again, the OBR would have told them that was the case. Perfectly reasonable to do that if you want the economy to maintain its level of productivity and doesn't want to collapse off the face of a cliff. As I say, go into permanent recession. The political choice here was to restrict supply of housing. But I mean, to be fair, not all of this is government intervention. Not all of this is a problem of lack of government intervention. Some of it is a bad planning policy that should have been upended years ago to build more houses. But on top of that, not intervening to build those houses themselves is also an issue of the government. And indeed, in terms of selling off all of the private infrastructure companies or selling off all public infrastructure to private companies who have no incentive to build to accommodate the new population.
Indeed. You know, the fact that we've privatised water means they haven't built any fucking reservoirs since we've privatised.
It's 1992!
Mental. Absolutely mental.
Years.
Wow, what happened just before 1992? Oh yeah, we privatised the fucking water!
Richard, should we pause net immigration?
I think so there's the issue around immigration overall is that there are people coming and going all the time. So there's students coming in and they count towards the immigration numbers. My brother got married to an Italian girl. She counts towards immigration numbers. You're going to say that, you know, they can't be married and live in the UK. So
it's okay.
Yes, that's what you're trying to say. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, but it's okay because the Italian, presumably his brother is white, and the Italians are... they have been accepted into the white people club now, I think. Even the Sicilians, you know. Yeah, so they're white and therefore they're allowed. The Ukrainians have been welcomed temporarily into the white people club, so they're allowed. Hong Kong, not really white, but like they're still sort of like
the CCP.
Yeah, a little colony type thing going on there, so we're okay with that for a bit.
It's not just racial politics; it's also geopolitics as well. Like immigration is fine as long as they're migrating, as long as they're refugees from a war started by our geopolitical opponents. Whereas if it's us starting a war or our geopolitical allies starting a war, every refugee that creates is a rapist.
Yes, yeah, literally.
I think the crucial thing is we need to control immigration and get the numbers really down, and we decide who comes and when.
Okay, and the Tories have handicapped themselves because this dickhead, who was a Tory but is now Reform, and was the immigration minister, who was the fucking idiot that literally started the hotels thing. Anyway, let's not get into it, Kev. They can just turn around and go, 1 million people. You let in 1 million people, mate. 1 million. That is a very significant sized city in 1 year. That's literally all they have to say. And every Conservative will go, yeah, that's fucked up, they shouldn't have done that. I'll vote for the guy that just said that, even though he was the guy that did it in the first place. Brilliant.
And I think on the other side, we've also got to get a real grip. And the truth is, the last Conservative government, of which Robert and I were both members, did not get a grip on the ECHR and some of the rules which allowed people to come here illegally and stay illegally and then use our benefits and welfare system illegally, costing all of you money. My party has done a huge amount of work.
Literally, he's making up shit now. You can't use the welfare state illegally. What the fuck is he talking about? No, you gave them access to the welfare state because, spoiler alert, it's not illegal to claim asylum, right? Like,
literally.
Work now with review after review on ensuring we're in exactly the right place for the future, where we can get out of the ECHR, maintain.
This question had nothing to do with irregular migration or asylum seekers, but these people are desperate to find a scapegoat to blame all of their governmental failures on, that they will take a question that is totally unrelated, because this is about regular migration, this is about work visas and unemployment in the labour market, which is a question entirely around regular migration. But he can't answer those questions because, as you pointed out, they failed on this when they were in office, so he has to turn it around to fucking asylum seekers. Again, which, as far as I am concerned, as I mentioned earlier on, is the thing that should not be touched. The sanctity of the Refugee Convention goes all the way back to the Second World War. If this country broadly wants to vote for more migration restrictions on regular migrants and work visas and implode the fucking economy, be my guest. That's democracy. You go ahead and implode the economy.
Gentlemen,
if you want to secure
this
process.
is Democracy
Or
Manifest.
fuck off the Greece or some shit. But when it comes to the kind of the basis of liberal democracy, on which the Refugee Convention is the kind of the symbolic part of the constitutional paradigm of the post-war period, to essentially tear that up is obscene. It's fucking obscene.
Yeah, 100%.
Maintain the rights that everybody wants, but not just be a soft touch to people who want to come here illegally and leech off our benefit system. That's what we need to do. Ensure that we can control.
Motherfucker, your party's full of landlords.
Yep. Also, again, it's amazing that the how far right these things have gone now. The Overton window is so fucking whack that you can have owners of Premier League clubs going on about colonising and receive absolutely no punishment whatsoever. You can have fucking this wanker going on about leeching or talking about floods of migrants, and it's just fine. It's just allowed to happen.
You're Hitlerian. It's Hitlerian.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, it's just basic fascist shit. Yeah.
It's useless eaters. That's the rhetoric that he's employing, and it's just curiously similar to the rhetoric they employ about the disabled too.
Yep.
And it's also worth pointing out too that. Sorry, I was going to make a point about asylum seekers that I forgot. Whatever. Go ahead.
Okay.
Here, and if people come here illegally, they're not allowed to stay, and they go back to where they came from. Earlier on, Heidi made a point about the Rwanda scheme. The truth is, we have to have a deterrent. That's why.
Like, all this stuff about the ECHR is bollocks. They want us out of the ECHR because they want employers to be able to exploit us. Because the thing that allows people to come here and claim asylum is the Refugee Convention and not the European Convention on Human Rights. That's not related. There are some cases in which people have been blocked from being deported, having previously claimed asylum because they've broken the law. Do you know what percentage of cases of people having a stay of migration, of deportation, because of the rules specifically due to the ECHR?
69%. Nice.
It's 3%.
Oh, well, there you go.
3% of people who've had their deportations blocked have been done solely under the grounds of the ECHR. Removing ourselves from the ECHR will make a negligible impact on how many people we are not allowed to deport.
But, of course, Nigel Farage wants to remove these things because it will allow him to create Britain as the sweatshop of Europe.
Yep.
That's it.
Why the small boat crossings have gone up under the Labour government, which is wrong.
Again, this was a question about legal migration, and he's now talking about the small boats. Stop the small boats.
We've got to have a proper returns agreement, and we've got to have a proper deterrent. The reason they cancelled it is because they don't care about tackling illegal migration. That's why it's gone up. We need to see it controlled.
It didn't work, Richard.
And
you know it didn't.
the reason it didn't work is because it didn't.
The migration minister problem.
Yeah, you literally defended this shit. It was your fucking plan. What?
Let me bring other people in, because we haven't...
In fairness to Heidi, the day that Yvette Cooper walked into the Home Office, of the hundreds of people that have been rounded up to be sent to Rwanda, only 2 were still in custody because the courts had let them
And bizarrely, or not bizarrely, I suppose, but unusually for the Labour Party, it was a pledge they made before the election that they actually did stick to. Like, of all of the things you can criticise, you can't really criticise that because, like, literally they went to the country and said, yeah, we'll stop the Rwanda thing, it's dumb. It's wasting money and all the rest of it, and then they did that. So like they did have a mandate to do that one thing at least.
Yeah, the population were offered to get rid of the Rwanda scheme, and they voted for it.
Yeah.
Tough shit, Robert.
Yeah.
And even then, like the fact that this Labour government wants to steal jewellery from asylum seekers, thought the Rwanda scheme was maybe a little bit too far, probably should tell you A, how evil it was, and B, how fucking stupid it was. And in the entirety of the time when you were trying to deport people, only fucking 4 people went, and you had to pay them $2,000 to do it.
Amazing.
They weren't asylum seekers. They were failed asylum seekers who were going to have to get sent to the country of origin if they didn't want to go to Rwanda. And they were like, yeah, actually, Rwanda's probably better than Iran or whatever.
And it's so racist. It really is, because, like, me as a white person, I want $2,000 to leave.
Literally, give me $2,000 and send me to Serbia. Fuck it, let's go.
I've got an Irish passport. I'll go and live in Kilkenny. I don't give a fuck. Let's go.
Yeah. And on top of this, these are the people saying, oh, it's because of immigration that you can't get houses. Motherfucker, the Rwanda scheme built council housing in Kigali. We can't get council housing in fucking Middlesbrough. You can't get council housing in Keighley. You can't get council housing in Carnforth. But you can get council housing in Kigali under the previous Conservative government, as long as you're a failed asylum seeker. It's insane.
Did that count as house building? Did they count that as the official numbers of house building?
I bet you they did.
The 500 houses or whatever they built in fucking Kigali. Jesus Christ. Absolutely.
Oh, pause, actually. Thank you, Miss Hire, for correcting me. It's not 3% of cases. It is 3 cases. 3 cases total were adjudicated solely by ECHR rules in terms of deportations.
Mad.
out. Everyone knew that. That's why I resigned from the government. Everyone else who sat around the cabinet table were happy to spin a yarn to the British public because they thought, well, let's eke out the last few months before a general election. Let's not be honest with the public. And that's one of the reasons why people have lost faith in the Tory party.
We both stood at the last general election, Robert, on the same manifesto.
No, not really. I put on my election.
No, you did. Robert, you don't get to do that, mate. You did. You did stand on that manifesto. That's just the fact. You were the Conservative Party candidate in that area, right? So that's it.
And the fact that people in your constituency voted for that manifesto, overwhelmingly too. Like, it's one of the areas of the country, I think, where the Conservative vote held up pretty well. They voted for you to do that, and you stood on that manifesto pledge. They overwhelmingly wanted it, and you are now not giving them that because you don't give a shit about your constituents. You care far more about your own self-aggrandizement.
True. Actually, I mean, I don't want to punch left or whatever, but it annoys me when Zara Sultana will go on about how the left, the Green Party aren't really socialist and blah blah blah, and I'm like, motherfucker. The two of us, one of us stood on Keir Starmer's genocide manifesto, and it wasn't me. I'm just saying, like, you're not an absolutely blemish-free socialist god. Well, wind your neck in a bit, you know?
Yeah, it's like, if we're going to talk about people who are showing solidarity with Gaza in terms of the election platform that they stood on, Adrian Ramsey is to the left of Zara Sultana.
Literally, fucking Briefcase Areno is to the left, yeah.
Yeah, so the Robert Jenner got 40% of the vote as a Tory in Newark.
Wow,
which, you know, like, so I think like one of the highest seats in the election.
Yeah. What's this? Inside Rwanda's centre that will house UK deportees. Come as a guest, leave as a friend. That's actually really nice. I'd never seen the inside of the building before.
Share it. Let me have a look.
This is from El País, which is a Spanish newspaper. but it's in English. It's been translated, obviously. Where are we? This is honestly, this is nicer looking anyway than any council building I've ever seen in fucking Brom. Anyway, where are? Hang on.
To be fair, they're too busy paying the rats.
That is literally true. Yes. Someone did a fucking mock-up of the question time panel for next week, and it was all rats. Which, like, fair dues. Look at that. That's really nice. Look at that.
Why can't we have council housing like this?
Yeah. Have you seen the fucking tower blocks they put British people in? Fucking grim. Like something from fucking dystopia.
Yeah, we have Grenfell, and this is...
Yeah. They've got fucking palm trees and shit. What the fuck? Or whatever the fuck these things are. They've got plants and that. Well, in Britain, you've got a lift that smells constantly like piss, even though you can't see piss anywhere. So why does it smell like piss? Look at that. Look at that. That's really nice. Fucking hell. Oh, God.
You know what? I'm feeling slightly less bad about the Rwanda plan. Well, then I remembered that the current Prime Minister, and at the time was Prime Minister, because he's basically been Prime Minister of Rwanda for ages, Paul Kagame of the Rwandan Patriotic Front, was the leader of the RPF military during the Second Congo War, where he was guilty of massacring refugees. So maybe we shouldn't be sending them to his country.
And of course, the money that we sent to Rwanda, to the Rwandan government, to allow us to build that very nice housing that never got used by anyone, or anyone, you know, from Britain. Was used then to launch an aggressive war against Congo. So that's cool. We're just funding some Central African warfare. It's like old times.
There's a really good Adam Curtis bit about the discussion of the Second Congo War. Or it might have been the First Congo War, one of the Congo Wars, either way, because Rwanda invaded Eastern Congo. I mean, ostensibly, it was to chase down the genocidaires. They wanted to, you know, enact vengeance upon the people who committed the genocide against the Tutsis in Rwanda, right? It was a paramilitary group called the Interahamwe, I believe that's the name. And they fled to Eastern Congo when the Rwandan Patriotic Front essentially used the military to drive out the genocidaires. And they followed them into the Congo. And there was also a lot of refugees from the genocide at the time. Film crews were going in to Eastern Congo to film the plight of the refugees during the Congo War. And people started donating money to these refugees. But the charities didn't know who was a refugee and who was a fleeing paramilitary. And so there was like charities had got exposed for essentially giving humanitarian aid to people who'd murdered Tutsis during the genocide. Wow. And so when the media went there, they couldn't properly justify what was happening. No one knew what was going on. No one could properly, again, countenance the fact that the reason we were in this position was because of European colonialism that created the Hutu-Tutsi distinction in the first place. And so all they could do was just report it and go, oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Pretty much.
Everyone's dying, everything's miserable, everything sucks.
Yeah. That's true, by the way. Yeah, Birmingham City Council did get another injunction banning the so-called mega pickets, which is like secondary picketing and, you know, non-aligned people joining pickets and stuff, which is not massively surprising, but is also disgusting, of course.
Well, secondary picketing was made illegal by the Thatcherite reforms, right?
Yes, indeed so. I believe so. But anyway, the point being, it's yeah, the council are scum, and it's we've been going over a year now. This fucking
the Labour Council, Labour Council.
Yeah, and also just out of interest, Unite. When are you gonna say enough is enough here? They're literally like banning you from doing anything and asking your workers to cross your picket line. Maybe disaffiliate from the group doing that. Just saying.
No, literally, I
put on my election leaflet that we should leave the ECHR.
And which is exactly now our policy.
Oh,
and
right.
Well,
so,
it is, Robert.
Well, I don't know what the Tory party's policy is, but
we all know that
I would be stunned if the Tory party ever left the ECHR.
We all know that you don't know what Reform's party policy is because you voted for welfare one day and then now you're fighting against it the next day.
Okay.
I think that's very clear.
Oh, the girls are fighting!
Has been money watching them kind of bitch slap each other at this point. You know, I've been looking for some blue on blue action.
True. Pissy lifts are wrong on so many levels. Thank you, chat. Thank you.
All right. So, ECHR, European Convention on Human Rights. And I think, I'm just thinking about your question. I think what you mean is, should we reach net zero immigration now? I think that's what you're saying. I'm just rephrasing.
That's the real net stupid zero. Hey.
Slightly. John, I mean, there are surveys that show we're getting closer and closer to that.
I mean, if you look at the peak of net migration, it kind of nearly topped 1 million in 1 year in 23. It's now down to 200,000. And it's I'm sure...
But that's still a lot, considering we haven't built any fucking infrastructure to accept the original 1 million or the 200,000 now.
Well,
So
the housing development in London has reached slipped to the lowest it's been in fucking decades, right? Like, this was the government of planning reform and getting Britain building again, and house building's fallen off a cliff.
Yeah.
But get a public fucking developer.
Yeah.
Heidi will take the credit for that, but it's true that the last Conservative government, the
Also,
measures that were put in place
sorry.
have contributed to that. And it's continuing to go down. And so you could have soon a potential net outflow of people from this country. And then you're left in the position where you think, well, have we got the staff that we need to run the care homes and the health service and pick the crops in the field? And so it's not something where you've got kind of complete control.
Well, we do sort of have enough people, but they're not going to do those jobs because the pay on offer is embarrassing and the conditions are worse.
I think the pay isn't even that bad. It is genuinely the conditions. There was a point at which there was where like the people who wanted like fruit pickers in like East Anglia and places like that, they couldn't hire anybody. Not because the wage, there was like £20 an hour or some crazy wage that they're offering for this stuff, and people refused to do the job. The people just did not want to pick fruit. And on top of this as well is that it's not only is it bad in terms of like the back-breaking labor that you have to do. The people who do that stuff are, I have insanely levels of respect for, because you're cutting years off your life doing it. But on top of this, it's seasonal work. No motherfucker wants to like have to move to, I'm trying to think of an East Anglian hamlet. No one wants to move to Cromer to work in the fucking the fruit fields, but only for 4 months of the year or whatever it is.
I was about to say, as you as a person who regularly quotes Alan Partridge should have been able to come up with an East Anglian
Terrington St Clement.
Exactly.
Bungie.
Yeah.
The tiller, you can pull it in one direction and it suddenly starts to fall. And I bet you that continues to fall. And then you're left with a different position where you might have skill shortages. In America, where Donald Trump has been incredibly successful in closing the southern border and has had this big deportation of illegal immigrants.
Yeah, that's the way you describe it, successful. Not that he's opened up concentration camps or anything. No.
It's insane that John Sopel, even from the Liberal position here, is going, yeah, he's been really successful as getting rid of illegal immigrants. No, he's been deporting asylum seekers and people with green cards.
Yeah.
You've got all sorts of employers in America saying, whoa, this has got to stop because we haven't got the people now to pick the crops or to work in the restaurants or to clean the bedrooms in the hotels. And so you can end up in a situation where you stifle economic growth because you haven't got the people to do the jobs.
Heidi.
Bum wipers. Give me. Britain demands bum wipers.
True.
Abby is calling for net zero immigration now.
Yeah, so overall net migration is currently at its lowest level in half a decade, and so that corroborates what John has just said. I do still think that we should want the brightest and best to come to this country to set up new businesses, employ people. I also think, if I'm totally honest, people meet people overseas, they fall in love, they start relationships, and if someone is earning a decent wage and they meet the income threshold...
Your party wants to change indefinite leave to remain to make it even harder for these people to come and live and work and love here. What the fuck are you talking about, Heidi? It is funny how, like, Morgan McSweeney's gone, we're going to pretend to be liberal all over again.
Yeah, possibly,
Sorry, I want to... Stella Santakedu, who's like an open Labour type who's been mouthing off about the Labour right on Twitter. It's been pretty good to see after she was strangely silent for so long about this whilst Morgan McSweeney was in his position. Has invented the name Moron McSkeeny, and that's fucking incredible.
That is pretty good.
told, then actually saying no, somebody couldn't come and join someone. I don't think that's the right thing for our country. I think we need a firm but fair immigration system. That's why, since we've come into government, we've increased the number of deportations and removals that have been happening for people who are here illegally. If you don't have a right to be in this country, you should have enforcement action taken against you, and that is why nearly 60,000 people have been deported or removed, a 31% increase on the preceding 19 months under the last Conservative government. And, you know, whilst I'm willing to make the case for immigration to this country, I also think it is totally unacceptable that we have people who are crossing the channel in boats in an uncontrolled way, and the government is serious about tackling this problem. We can't fix it.
Okay, so you're going to set up safe and legal routes?
No, they're going to have... Kevin. Are you doubting the efficacy of the dingy rubber sniffing dogs?
Look, far be it from me to besmirch the great rubber sniffing dogs. Bless them. The dinghy hunting canine comrades. But I think you need a multifaceted approach. You know? I'm thinking holistically, yeah?
We've not had a dingy rubber sniffing dog reference in ages.
True. Well, but apparently they are actually still being used. Like, it's just embarrassing. We're such a shithouse of a country, man.
But again, I just want to make it very, very clear to people, this desire to drive down that migration will lead us into recession. It's really bad for the economy.
Yep.
I don't care about skills gaps. Like, again, he says things like, well, who else going to work in the care homes? Like, well, British people can do those things. You don't need to force people, you don't need to force fucking Eastern European philosophy professors to come here and wipe people's bums for a living. Plenty of people can go out and wipe bums from any background or from any part of any country to do that. It shouldn't be seen as above British workers to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Even if some people do believe that it's above them. But the macro picture, the reality of what we're seeing here is an aging population.
Yeah.
The more pensioners you have, the more workers you need to support those pensioners. And we don't have more workers, we have fewer workers because our birth rate is below replacement. And on top of this, we are going to get into a position, as John pointed out, of net emigration, meaning our working age population ratio to retired is going to go down.
Yeah.
At a faster rate than it otherwise would do. We're only just arresting the momentum of our aging society with the previous mass migration that we had. That will get infinitely worse and our economy will fucking collapse. It's such, again, short-term thinking to appease people whose only conception of migration policy is big number bad. Which is why, not only I'm gonna keep ranting about this stuff, because not only are we kneecapping the whole country's economy on a macro level, there are certain sectors we're going to go under completely. Not just any sectors, strategically important sectors like universities, for example, which not only are important in terms of being able to educate the youth of this country holistically, but on top of this, it's an incredibly important export because foreign students come to this country and they don't use British capital for that. They bring in foreign capital to pay for it because they can't work whilst they're doing their degree. They bring themselves over, they bring their family over, and they need to bring enough money to support all of them with no job. And so what that means is they're bringing in foreign capital to buy our product, foreign capital to put into our economy, which helps a thing called the balance of payments, i.e. the amount of foreign currency coming into the country as a ratio of British currency going out to buy other countries' exports, to import things from other countries. If that balance of payments goes out of whack and we import significantly more than we export, that drops the value of the pound and makes us poorer. It's a really important facet of our economy that we have at least one thing outside of the financial services sector that we export on a very large level. We're known internationally for how supreme our university sector is. And again, we are destroying a centuries-old institution in this country, right? All the people who care about the cultural value of this country, right? Our universities are part of this, and it's being destroyed to appease a bunch of boomers who look at big number be too bad, fuck off foreign students for no reason other than political expediency. It's insane. It's insane policy.
Yeah. Also, as you can see, we're being swamped by small boats lately. Lots. Honestly, it's an armada reaching the beaches of 0 boats in the last fucking week.
I didn't know that's what happened. I guess it's winter, but...
Well, yeah, but I mean, even so, like, I'm glad we're talking about this very massive issue of the small boats that aren't arriving.
But yeah, polling for the Labour Party, as Solly points out, not coming up anywhere. Labour still hated.
True. Much like the number of small boats coming, they're going to get 0 fucking votes. Yes. Yeah. So thank you for bitty bits there, whoever did the bits. Anyway, and you said, why do these politicians answer like ChatGPT? Because they're robots. They're just robots. That's it. There's no other answer than they're just pre-programmed with moron McSchemy talking points or whatever, and so they just answer in this kind of monotone, dead behind the eyes, soulless way, because having any kind of enthusiasm about your politics is student politics.
It is. Also, I want to say I agree with the account whose name is Pissrail, which is great.
Nice.
About debunking the surplus stuff. I mean, like, there's a thing called the lump of labour fallacy. This idea that there is a specific number of jobs, and if you increase the population, then the bargaining power of labour will go down because you're having more people subscribe to the same number of jobs. When the number of jobs is not static. If you increase the number of people, that is more demand. More demand means more jobs. Like, there is every study has shown that on a macro level, increased migration does not impact wages. It may do sector by sector, depending on the kind of migrants that you're getting. Like if all of your migrants are taxi drivers, that will decrease the value of taxi driving compared to every other profession in the country. But broadly, mostly migrants have a similar kind of level of employment aptitude than the rest of the country.
Also, Pissrail. I just want to say this: Jizrael is right there. Okay, like you could have gone, yeah.
The Israeli Defence Force.
Amazing. Or if you wanted to show support, you could have called yourself Philistine. You know.
Overnight, but our work with the French has prevented 40,000 channel crossings this year. We've seized 905 boats. We've taken down 18,000 social media.
But what about the medium-sized boats? Have you done anything about that?
Clearly, the dogs are doing a good job.
Exactly, the dogs are taking care of the medium-sized boats, but the small boats don't have enough rubber, so they don't detect it. You say. What you need. What you need, this is the thing, right? They're only employing medium-sized dogs. What you need is a little Chihuahua rubber-sniffing dog for the small boats. And a Great Dane for the massive boats. It's just, come on now, people. Modern problems, modern solutions. Let's go.
Accounts used by these people smugglers that are essentially trafficking people into the country. We're increasing the raids that we're doing on rogue businesses that are employing illegal workers here. That means if you've got more raids, you've got more arrests, you've got more removals from the country. So we're doing the hard work of getting the immigration system back under control. But the truth of the matter is we inherited an absolute mess from the previous government. And it's these two over here. These lads can bicker all they like, but we're fixing the problems that they created, and now they pretend that they've got all the answers. Don't listen to them.
Right.
Not wrong.
So look.
Not wrong, and also the Tories were so bad that they're still being like laughed at and clapped against by someone who like that. No one likes Heidi Alexander or the Labour Party, and yet people will still clap that obviously good point. Yeah.
The thing is now that Kevin Badgerbobs, whatever his name is.
Oh, Kenneth.
Has pivoted away from banging on about Chagos. Like she's actually not doing like too bad. Like she kind of found her own when the Mandelson stuff was going on, in terms of questioning the government. And the Tories, they're just terminally fucked because everyone remembers it. People just do not forget the shit that they put us through.
Yeah.
And they're going to get wiped out the next election.
Good.
Especially because the people who still reliably vote for them are the over 75s, right? The Reform vote peaks between 65 and 75, then the Tories overtake them because old people are creatures of habit. And you know what happens to old people over time, chat?
They live forever. Because they're invincible. The boomer, you can't destroy a boomer. It's literally impossible. They're immortal.
Well, their ideology certainly seems to be, but...
Yeah.
Much time for that question. I wanted to get it in, and now I haven't got time.
Well, that's the thing. Once the power of kings was thought to be immovable, and neoliberalism is no different. Okay.
Quite so.
To come to any of you, I'm so sorry because Luke, you got your hands up. I know. Sorry about that.
They're done. Okay, that's it then. That was fucking useless. As always. Yeah.
Quite. Anyway, I'm gonna restart up on YouTube, cover some more stuff, and I will. We should. So I've got a couple of things. I'll shoot you some things. I'll stay in the call, but my stream will shut down, and then it's gonna restart up on YouTube. So Twitch viewers, if you wanna come and check my YouTube channel to make sure that when my stream goes live,
yeah.
So I'm just gonna pull together the things I'm looking at here. 1 second.
Fair enough. Kenny Laughing Stock. That doesn't quite work, but I appreciate your effort, Dingus. Especially because I think you're doing that in a second language. Doing puns in a second language is very impressive. Or indeed correcting an English person on their use of English as an Austrian is honestly, I'll be honest, that cut deep. You know.
I mean, that does seem to be something that happens pretty often in the UK nowadays, to be honest.
Honestly, the most erudite people I've ever met weren't born here.
It's all Scandinavians. It's Scandis, actually. The people who correct other people's English most, from what I see, are Scandis, because the Scandi language is so fucking impenetrable. It's easy to learn English.
Germans are the best, because they all speak like flawless English, and they'll make one tiny mistake, and they'll be like, I'm very sorry for this. And you're like,
my English is bad. My English is bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. My English is not so great. I apologise profusely for this maladjustment.
Mild syntax error.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, motherfucker, have you heard the people of this place? They don't speak English. You speak better English than any person who's ever been born here. What are you talking about? There are professors of English who don't speak English better than that. Like, I'm just, Anyway.
Right, I'm just gonna put my YouTube video up. Ooh.
Like in Brom, like it's you're Odlo, where am you? And yet someone with absolutely crisp, perfect English will be like, "Oh, he speaks funny, don't I?" Fucking hell, man. Mad.
Also, I think you'll like the thumbnail for the latest video I put up, Kev.
What is it? I don't think I've seen.
It's me reacting to Hannah Spencer debating with Matt Goodwin.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll go onto your channel and we'll have a look. Well, there's no Justice's channel, so I'll go onto the thing, and it's
there it is.
I have notes. How did the Green Party's Hannah Spencer doing this by-election debate? Oh yeah, they talked, didn't they? Her and Matt Hancock on Newsnight, was it?
It was just BBC. It was BBC, like they did it on BBC Sounds, but they also filmed it too and put it up online. Yeah, because it wasn't broadcast anywhere on telly, but it's only available for video on the internet, right? I literally had to borrow my housemate's glasses to make that thumbnail.
Oh, bless.
And it's just this would be even fun if I pretend to be like one of those teachers, like making notes. Yes, I feel like I got this thing wrong.
Also, a little bit coquettish. Just saying. Yeah. Anyway, yes. Oh yeah, shit. Where are we? Sorry.
Sorry, I'm going to send you the link to the article. I've just been messaged something that caught my eye. There's the article, and we can also, whilst we talk about this, after we talk about this article, we talk about the party political broadcast as well, 'cause that's also quite funny.
It so fucking silly. Let's have a look. What have we got? Oh, it's a Daily Mail article of all things. Good God. Let's have a look then. Hang on. Stop sharing, and then share that. The Green Party's Brexit mocking. I mean, firstly, I'm going to stop after 4 words and say what's wrong with Brexit mocking exactly? Like, the party's policy is like anti-Brexit.
Yeah, well, literally, our party policy is to rejoin the European Union.
So what did you expect? Oh no, she has the same policy as her party. Cool.
And again, like, most people in this country want to rejoin the EU. That's like that's an almost supermajority position now in current polling.
But this is the Daily Mail, so like they've got like a religious attachment to Brexit. Like this is the equivalent of like blaspheming to the Daily Mail to mock Brexit. You can't mock Brexit. Anyway, the Green Party's Brexit mocking eco-zealot candidate. I know, it's someone who supports ecological sustainability in the Green Party. Crazy. In Gorton and Denton, who drives a petrol car, owns 2 homes, and has a taste for globe-trotting holidays. This is the thing, right? Whenever they do this about like Zohra Mamdani or the Green candidate here or whatever, it just tells me like these people must be angels. If this is the worst they've got, if they've done all the muckraking they possibly can, and this is the worst they could come up with, they actually seem like good people. Then okay, cool. Because like, I mean, at the same time that fucking members of the aristocracy are getting arrested, and have been outed as fucking noncing, the fact that she owns a petrol car and participates in society, I'm very smart, borescomic.jpg. Look, he's irrelevant. I don't care. These aren't like. How scared are they that this is the only attack? This is the attack they're going with, Well,
literally, again, it's this appeal to hypocrisy shit that is an argumental fallacy from kind of a base point, really. But again, as you say, it's just a Boers comic. It's how can you want to change society when you participate in society? And I'm like, well, it depends on how much you use your petrol car. Some of us can't afford to upgrade to an electric vehicle, which is why we think, as part of our policy prospectus, that we want more subsidies for these things to make it more affordable for people to be able to make the switch who wouldn't otherwise be able to do so. Again, they are trying to treat these structural issues as if they're only ones of individual personal responsibility. And I'm like, well, no, again, we need to have a system that incentivizes and also assists people in making ecologically sustainable choices,
Indeed. The Green Party's candidate in Gorton and Denton by-election faces allegations of hypocrisy for jetting off on a foreign holiday and co-owning homes worth over £1 million. Now, considering the average price of a house, that's really not very expensive then for 2 houses.
I mean, so it's worth pointing out a couple of things here. So first of all, when they say faces allegations of hypocrisy, you're alleging hypocrisy. You're not commenting on this in the vacuum. You're describing your own reporting here.
Yeah.
And as you say, Kevin, most houses are quite expensive nowadays, but £1 million for 2 houses still makes you, middle class at the very least, right?
Yeah.
But even then, these are co-owned with her ex-partner, who was a principal scientist at AstraZeneca. I looked up what his job was earlier, and it seemed, again, like the kind of stuff you'd expect just a person who does science all day to do. And that's how she became a co-owner. They're still working through the conveyancing that you have to engage in when you do separate, and you need to separate out these assets. I'm pretty sure the AstraZeneca scientist is the one who managed to afford these homes, and she happens to be on the documentation for it, and not the plumber.
But pleb can afford house, says the Daily Mail, who's tax dodging fucks who own it. Jesus.
Yeah, it's Hassan House discourse. It's Hassan House discourse all over again.
Literally. Hannah Spencer's Instagram account also shows the environmentally conscious prospective MP posing next to what appears to be a petrol car emblazoned with campaign slogans. Okay. Ms. Spencer, 34, is the leading left-wing candidate against Reform's UK's... by the way, solid burn on Labour, but they're not even including them as a left-wing candidate. True.
I mean, I'm enjoying this. I'm very much enjoying the Labour Party getting written out of this by-election when, theoretically they might still win it. We all know that they're not, right? But it's not like it's a foregone conclusion.
They did get over 50. They did get over 50% less than 2 years ago. They've held this seat since 1930. This shouldn't be up for discussion. What the fuck?
And it's funny they're getting written out of the coverage. It is genuinely incredible. And honestly, you'd love to see it. The heat death of the Labour Party has been long coming.
Oh, indeed. Okay, so Miss Spencer, 34, is the leading left-wing candidate against Reform UK's Matt Goodwin, a former university academic turned GB News presenter. Labour, defending the seat previously held by Andrew Gwynn, who stepped down after being part of a WhatsApp group which exchanged messages mocking voters, is expected to lose heavily in Thursday's vote. Time out. Mocking voters. I don't know that wishing death upon someone for asking about the bins is mockery. That seems like you're like bizarrely they're underselling their attack on Labour there. That's very strange. Yes. Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham was blocked from standing by the party's National Executive Committee, and Angeliki Stoja, or however the fuck you pronounce it.
It's pronounced Stoya, apparently.
Oh, that's annoying. Anyway,
And it says it's Angeliki Stoya.
Angeliki Stoja, woke. A local councillor has been selected instead.
So the person I was mentioning before, who did the moron McSchemy name, Stella Santacadu, she's also Greek, and I don't know why this mentioning they're both Greek, but in the comments she said, "I left the most beautiful country in the world to come and live here, and you're doubting my patriotism for Britain and my commitment to Britain." I'm like, you know what? Fair enough. Do you want to swap? Very happy to swap, Stella. If you want to stay in the UK, you can absolutely stay. I would much rather be eating Sutsukaki in the sun.
True. Like, we might not be sending the Elgin marbles back, but if they want to send me there, I'm all for it. I'm old and made of stone as well, so Anyway, pardon me. Ms. Spencer announced her candidacy with a press release declaring Greens pick local plumber to win Gorton and Denton. And then there's pictures of her, and then that's... Where is she there? Sherman's Wharf? I don't know where that is. Somewhere. New Orleans or something?
Abroad.
Yeah, abroad. That's definitely abroad. There's nowhere in Britain looks like that. She told locals, quote, "I've lived in the constituency and still work here, so I know the issues and what people want to change," unquote. But
it's true. She used to live in Levenshulme. I used to live in Levenshulme, which is in the constituency. It was only my second general election was when I lived in Levenshulme in 2015. I voted for the Green Party candidate, and they came in second by 25,000 votes.
So, not exactly a marginal,
No, it was a Gerald Kaufman's old seat.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. But while Denton and Gorton... Hang on, isn't it Gorton and Denton? Why have you flipped the two around there?
Well, they want to prioritise Denton because that's the more reform-heavy area, because it's Tameside rather than Greater Manchester.
Oh, okay. But while Denton and Gorton contain some of Greater Manchester's most deprived neighbourhoods, with incomes 25% lower than the national average, Ms. Spencer owns two houses in Greater Manchester's most affluent postcodes with her former biochemist partner, Dr. Stephen Holman. Separately, her social media accounts show numerous long and short-haul holidays. Why is this a story? Can I just ask?
Well, because the Daily Mail is full of the worst people in existence. I mean, anyone who does work for the Daily Mail, like if you're watching this, let's find out the name of the author for this piece, Richard Marsden and Stuart Whittingham. If you're watching this, your mother should have aborted you. I just want to let you know that.
I personally think we should have state-funded trips for those two gentlemen to Switzerland.
Fuck it, it's Rwanda. They want to mock people for going abroad. How about you spend some time abroad in our lovely council housing you've built in Rwanda?
You may have missed the point of my Switzerland joke.
I was trying to smooth.
You're trying not to get banned, which, you know what? Like, you shouldn't have had me on. If that was your priority, you shouldn't have had me on. You knew what you were doing here. You invited the scorpion onto your back. You knew what this was.
But it's just, the dumb thing here is thinking, well, she co-owns this with her partner who's richer than she is. And I'm like, yeah, class is about your own personal relationship to production. Like, if you marry into someone of a different class, that doesn't change your own. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Trips documented on social media include Amsterdam in 2018, which, like, that's literally just across the North Sea. You can get a
ferry
boat.
to Amsterdam.
Yeah, you can get a boat. I know. I've taken it. Like, what? Separate Spanish trips to Valencia and Barcelona in 2016, and a trans. There it is. A transatlantic jaunt in 2018 to New York and San Francisco. The same year, she also travelled to Hungary. Well, I thought you liked Hungary because of the fascism.
True. I can't believe that they would have a go at somebody for wanting to visit Orban's homeland.
Unbelievable.
But it's just like the point that they're trying to make here is it's hypocritical for an environmentalist to have gone on some foreign holidays. Like they have managed to get 5 or 6 holidays from over a decade, right? That's less than one every 2 years in terms of the frequency with which he's gone on foreign trips, right? And what they're doing is making, obviously, a Boar's comic reference. They're doing the "how dare you participate in society" thing. But on top of this, there's a broader point here, which that they think that the environmentalist opposition to air travel is, we think no one should fly ever, which isn't true. We believe in what's called a frequent flyer levy on people who essentially treat international air travel like a fucking taxi. People who fly 10 times a year, people who fly private jets. The average working class or middle class family getting 1 flight, maybe 2 flights a year to go on a holiday is not the people that we're targeting, because they are not the people who are the most to blame for aeroplane emissions in the world.
It's like it's Taylor Swift taking the fucking the plane to go for a pint of milk at the corner shop. That's the
literally.
Yeah.
That's what we're taking umbrage with, right? I mean, Zach Polanski himself was very explicit in saying that this was our position in multiple interviews that he's done, and he's correct to do so. We don't want to take away people's holidays to the Algarve. Like, of course we don't. We want to take away the multimillionaires and billionaires burning the planet to a crisp so they can fly across the Atlantic 5 times a month or whatever. I flew across the Atlantic to the United States twice last year. Should I have paid a frequent flyer levy? Yes. Yes, I should, because those are 2 long-haul flights that I did to play a card tournament.
I was about to say, the reason I think is important as well. Like, if you're visiting your fucking relatives in Australia that you haven't seen for 20 years, fair enough. If you're going to play a silly card game, you pay the levy, I think.
Yeah, and I would have been happy to have paid the levy. I should pay the levy. The idea that because we want to add these levies to the tax kind of remit means that suddenly we think we shouldn't be paying them at the same time. No, in fact, it shows our moral consistency that even if we did put these taxes into play, we would want to pay them. Just like when Hassan says, I want the rich to be taxed, he's talking about himself, and he would happily pay those taxes too. But again, I am not a private jet owner, so I don't think you can call me a hypocrite for wanting to ban private jets.
You're not a private jet owner yet. Okay, dream big, yeah?
The YouTube gig may become more lucrative over time. We shall see. Chat,
exactly.
That is your signal to gift membership.
You can give me memberships, and I promise you, when I'm on my Learjet, I won't think about you at all.
Now, I will always remember King Henry VIII fake and their 50 gifties every single stream, which honestly has blown me away. They've been very generous.
Okay, well, that's you. People who give me money are ants. I'm only joking. I'm playing. Anyway,
yeah, I just want to make it extremely clear for anybody who's watching who doesn't like the Green Party or has reservations about us. We do not want to take away your holidays to Europe. I want to make this incredibly clear. We don't want to take it away. We don't blame you for climate change, because you aren't to blame. The billionaires and the mega corporations to blame, not you. You don't want to put a frequent flyer levy on people who fly like a couple of times a year to go on holiday in the Canary Islands. This is just 100% the case. And Hannah Spencer going on holidays once every other year is not a demonstration of hypocrisy.
True. Thank you, Wayward Historian, for gifting us up to I Can't Give a Duck. Thank you, Queen Ant, for your donation there. And thank you, Morinaka, for 34 months. Sorry. Okay. Breathe, Kev, breathe. In another social media post from February 8th, Ms. Spencer poses next to a car covered in the Green Party's logo and campaign slogans. However, the vehicle appears not to be an eco-friendly electric or hybrid model, but a turbo petrol-powered Vauxhall Astra. Ooh, no one cares. Literally no one cares. Shut up. Meanwhile, in a 2016 Instagram post mocking the Brexit referendum result, that's solid, actually, I'll give her that. Ms. Spencer described how she joked with a customer that leaving the European Union would make life more expensive. That wasn't a joke.
It demonstrably...
That was just an economic statement of fact.
It demonstrably has done. Yeah. Thank you, Aaron, for the 10 gifties.
Yeah. Quote, "You're all going to pay more for me to come and fix your toilet," she wrote, accompanied by the hashtag most expensive plumber. Okay. Residents in the former Gorton and Reddish seat, a major part of the Denton and Gorton constituency created after a reorganisation voted to leave the EU by 61.4% to 38.6%.
And assuming uniform swing based upon current polling, that's basically 50-50 now.
Yeah. Oh no, a woman stands next to car. Shock.
Shocking horror. Thank you, Ronald, for the 5 gifties. Appreciate the support.
Oh my god, the amount of like pervy shit you get in this newspaper, and they fucking pixelated the word shit.
I know, right? Literally.
Oh my
Wasn't it the Daily Mail who posted the picture of Charlotte Church when she was 18?
Yeah, like it's disgusting, weird, like creepy shit, and they'll bloat that because you can't see that. Boomers would have a heart attack. Anyway, Ms. Spencer and Dr. Holman were living in a smart terraced home in affluent Sale and splurged £250,000 on another property less than 5 miles away in Altrincham 18 months ago. I like that it's splurged. When like a billionaire buys a yacht for his yacht for his yacht for his yacht, that's a wise investment. But this is a splurge.
And also, like, a smart terraced home. Yeah, terraced homes are usually the cheapest and most modest ones. You know that, right?
Yeah. Also, if it's smart, isn't that, like, good because it's more eco-friendly, which you were saying was bad because she was stood next to a car? Okay. Voters in Gorton spoke to their disappointment at the Green Party candidate's hypocrisy over her love of flying and foreign holidays. Did they? How many people in Gorton and Denton give a fuck about this? Honestly, like virtually nobody.
I'm sure the Daily Mail found some people to clip.
Yeah. They also criticised her for owning 2 homes when many are struggling with the cost of living. Yeah.
Well, she co-owns 2 homes with somebody else, so when they divide it up, that'll be 1 home each, and you've got to assume that the scientist for AstraZeneca will get the more expensive one.
One would assume, yes. Grandmother Irene Baxter, 77, brilliant. So again, just boomer slop for boomers. Said it's pretty outrageous how she can stand for a party that wants to clamp down on air travel when she jets all over the world herself.
And again, that's just how polarized this stuff is by misreporting on our position. Again, as I mentioned before, no one wants to clamp down on regular air travel to go on holiday for normal people.
Yeah.
That's not jetting all over the world. That's just access to a nice holiday once in a while, which the Green Party have no intention of taking away.
Yeah. As Friends Rust, our local Mancunian, says, as someone from Gorton, I couldn't care less. Why don't you get a fucking article in the paper then, quoting you? Like, it's... Anyway. Right. I was going to vote for her. Yeah, of course you were. Irene Baxter, the 77-year-old cunt in the Daily Mail. You were definitely going to vote Green until she stood next to a car. Fuck off, you lying bastard. Assuming you even exist. You could just be made up by the Daily Mail. Who knows?
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time, but it is also quite funny that that's a kind of similar attitude that person that Owen Jones interview had.
Yeah.
Where he said, I'm not going to vote for the Greens so they didn't close the door.
Mad. Anyway, so I was going to vote for her as I've had it with Labour and all their lies, but she seems to be like the rest of them, so I'm going to vote for the fucking GB news presenter who definitely gets my working class needs.
And I felt like she's just like the rest of them, i.e. she has been on a plane at some point.
Yeah. Mad.
Yeah, that's the same, right?
Shit.
As like so her taking a couple of foreign holidays again once every other year is similar in terms of being like the rest of them as Sir Keir Starmer Casey, member of the Trilateral Commission, with his own pension law written into statute under his own name, who also spent hundreds of thousands of pounds of public money being chauffeured around in a limousine as the Director of Public Prosecutions. I'm sure these things are in any way applicable to each other. I'm sure there's an equivalence here somewhere.
Yeah. Airport worker Paul Hall, 43, said, I liked the sounds of her as she's a local. She came across as a down-to plumber. I think that's supposed to be down-to-earth plumber, Brilliant journalism, lads. Thanks. But to find out she's got lots of money with 2 homes is outrageous. Look, okay. I hate to point this out to you, but Matt Goodwin is significantly richer than she is. So if you've got a problem with people who are rich, I'm just saying, maybe the Reform guy is the worst person, especially because he's from fucking Hertfordshire.
Shit. And like, Matt Goodwin makes his money by working for GB News, where it's get paid by Paul Marshall, a hedge fund banker.
Yep. And
from working for the Legatum Institute, a think tank funded by the United Arab Emirates. Yet, apparently Hannah the plumber is a wrong-un for working a normal job being paid as a sole trader.
But she's standing next to Car!
Oh, she went to Valencia! No!
Yeah. Although, to be fair, the last person that went to Valencia was when Gary Neville managed them very briefly and unsuccessfully, so, you know. Just saying. Mancunians in Valencia do not have a great record. Anyway. But to find out she's got lots of money with 2 homes is outrageous. How can she stand as a Green candidate when she loves air travel and jetting off around the world? She's a hypocrite.
Again, like, what hypocrisy? They don't even explain what the hypocrisy is. Again, there's this assumption that somehow the Green position is to ban all air travel forever, which just isn't true in the slightest. Also, thank you there underneath for 10 gifties, and thank you, Aaron, for the £5 super chat. We'd like to shout out Asia Bora and the Leicester Greens for a win on Thursday. Green gain from Labour. It was good to see. Sure. Labour, like 40-point majority got slashed to nothing.
Good. Self-employed Mike Kerr, 49.
Is he the brother of Wayne Kerr?
I believe so. They've got very similar outlooks on the world. Self-employed Mike Kerr, 49, said, "She shouldn't stand as an MP if she doesn't do what she preaches." Well, I think you'll find that would rule out all of Parliament.
What does she preach? Again, they've not even stated what she preaches, that she's supposed to have been hypocritical.
She preaches all plane travel is verboten, completely and utterly, obviously. That must be the Green Party policy. Otherwise, this article is fucking ridiculous. Waste of everyone's fucking time. Anyway, neighbours living close to Miss Spencer and her husband's new home in Altrincham said the couple had not moved in, but had been seen working on the property. Okay. One said, "It looks worse now than when they first bought it. It looks abandoned now, and it's really scruffy. Everyone is wondering what is going on with it." Yeah, they're doing improvements. It's going to look like a building site because it's a building site. Like, I've not even been there. I don't know what it looks like. Maybe it's an absolute shithole. But, like, if they've gone in there to work on it because they haven't moved in, because it isn't fit to move into, it's because they're improving the property. Possibly to sell it on, possibly to live in. Who knows? Like, anyway, it doesn't matter, Kev. Just these people, the priorities of the British public and the understanding of reality of the British public make me want to scream. Genuinely enrages me. Locals were unimpressed by Miss Spencer's love of travelling and air travel. This is the worst journalism ever. You can't even write sentences properly, you dumb cunts. Honest to fucking God.
I mean, I don't know why you're feigning surprise at the idea that people who both read and write for the Daily Mail are fucking illiterate.
Yeah. Pensioner Jim Hughes, 71. The second 70-plus person to be quoted in the article. Okay. In case you were wondering where the demographics are here. Pensioner Jim Hughes, 71, said, "I thought the Greens were all about the environment, not polluting the planet with long-haul flights. It's a shame, as she seems such a nice, down-to-earth woman." Oh, you remembered the Earth this time? Well done, you remembered the planet we're on. Good. Another neighbour said, "It's not a good look when you..." This one doesn't even have a name or an age. This is just made up then.
Probably because they didn't want to be smeared with the idea that maybe they've spoken to somebody from the Daily Mail, in case it's catching.
Well, exactly, yes, indeed. Another neighbour said, "It's not a good look when you see her jetting off to San Francisco and New York, especially when the Green Party preaches about protecting the environment. If that's a real person, please go to Switzerland. You're a cunt. You are
and also,
worthless."
just again, like, even if you genuinely think that the number of short-haul flights, like even if you genuinely think that the number of long-haul flights should be reduced, and maybe there's a pretty good argument for that, then the idea that the flight that had already been booked, because these flights get planned a year in advance, right? Because planes have to go from country and then onto another country, all the airlines all have to coordinate with each other where planes are going to be, so the air traffic controllers know, so we know which planes are going where, so they can coordinate refueling and all of the different maintenance that needs to be done, because it's an incredibly dangerous industry, right? All that stuff is planned a year in advance. The idea that someone hops on a plane that was already going there to begin with as a tourist in economy is somehow contributing to the global use of the aviation industry is just nonsense. It's total nonsense. It misunderstands the whole structure in place here. If you want change, individual action, which essentially has been drilled into us ever since the BP fucking personal carbon footprint lie got spread around the world by an ad agency to try and take the weight off of international megacorporations, everyone's been obsessed with personal carbon footprint and individual responsibility on this stuff. And whilst I'm not saying you can't I'm not saying that you should just be able to do willy-nilly whatever you want and that personal responsibility is completely irrelevant. The idea that that is anyway more important than the structures that incentivize people to do things that are environmentally unfriendly is nonsensical.
I was literally making sort of the same point the other day about the line there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, which is absolutely true, but that it doesn't mean abandon all personal responsibility or don't try and live in a good way. It means don't burn yourself out thinking, should I eat this type of fucking chickpeas? Are they ethically sourced? About every single decision in your life, because you'll just end up burned out over a thing where essentially it sort of doesn't matter. You need to look for structural change. You personally not using an airplane doesn't make the slightest difference to whether polar bears have anywhere to live.
That's true. I think it is important to point out there are lots of people who will claim to be leftists who will invoke the phrase "no ethical consumption under capitalism" as a get-out-of-jail-free clause for all of their unethical consumption that they do. Yep. And those people are fucking idiots, right? You should try and eat less meat. You should try and eat less dairy. You should minimize the intake of these things. But if it's going to massively impact your quality of life to cut it out completely, cut it by half, right? Everyone cutting out their meat consumption by half is the same as half of the country becoming vegetarian. The more we all collectively reduce what we do consume whilst we try and get structural change is a good thing. That's a good thing. But when it comes to taking the place on a public transport such as a flight across the Atlantic, which has already been scheduled a year in advance, that is not the same, especially given, as we pointed out already in the stream, the preponderance of people who take multiple flights a month who are the real problem here.
Yeah. Indeed. Given the Altrincham house has been empty for so long, one local queried whether Miss Spencer and her partner paid stamp duty for the address as their main home or as a second property, which would attract a higher rate. Which is very interesting considering the Daily Mail literally are owned by tax-dodging pricks based in Monaco.
Yep.
Just saying. Opponent, Mr. Goodwin, is a former politics professor at the University of Kent, and before that was a political lecturer at the University of Nottingham. Although born in Watford, the 45-year-old's family moved to Greater Manchester, where his parents took roles as senior NHS bosses. They are really trying to stretch out his local links there. They are desperate. There's grasping at straws, and then he's born in Watford, he's from Hertfordshire, he lives in London. He has no real connection to Manchester at all, and Greater Manchester is doing a lot of lifting there, I think.
Yeah, I'm assuming by they're saying Greater Manchester, they mean that his parents were some kind of senior position at North Manchester Hospital, which is the one I spent most of my time in when I lived in Manchester.
No, they
were nowhere near Gorton and Denton.
Well, it says senior NHS bosses, so they're probably in an office in Oldham or Bury or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is fine, by the way, but it doesn't mean you have a connection to Manchester particularly.
No.
He and his ex-wife, who have a young daughter, used to own a £900,000 house in Hitchin, Hertfordshire. Divorced. Can we get some lols in chat? Just the word divorce there. Divorced.
Crab Ray for Matt Goodwin's marriage.
Exactly. Also, congratulations to Mrs. Goodwin. I hope you took him to the cleaners. Divorced, Mr. Goodwin has publicly stated he will move to the seat if he wins. That's commitment. You really care about the people of Manchester. Thank you. The Reform Party couldn't give less of a fuck about the people of the places they stand, honestly. The Green Party revealed Miss Spencer has split from her partner but remains co-owners of the property. It did not respond to questions about the stamp duty. A Green Party spokesperson said Miss Spencer has split from her partner but remains on the paperwork for the houses. Someone, blank, said, I don't know who that is, that literally doesn't have a thing, it's just...
What the fucking editor's going on here? Jesus
just
Christ.
Blank said, so I mean, insert whoever you like there. Mohammed bin Salman said... The ghost of Joseph Stalin said, look, it could be anyone, right? Somebody said, Hannah Spencer is a real-life working-class human being. That is why she is proving so popular with voters in Gorton and Denton. The Green Party...
Wow, I can't believe Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has such an eye on local UK politics.
Honestly, you know what? I'm warming to him. I was a bit annoyed with the whole chopping up journalist bit, but if he's going to get... Look, if he's going to get involved in local politics... Mo, give us a bell, mate. We'll get you on the show. And then send you to The Hague, you cunt. Anyway. The Green Party doesn't believe people should be deprived of transport or holidays. It's interesting that you're having this at the back end of the article, knowing that most of your people will have already clicked onto... let's choose a random story. How to lose weight, fast and keep it off without fat jabs. Which is literally one of the articles there.
High quality journalism.
Brilliant stuff. Could Andrew's inner circle face questions from police? Detectives may want to talk to the closest aide, Amanda Thirsk. So no one's getting to this fucking point. They've already clicked off. So you're doing our entire fucking article is absolute bullshit because the Green Party are literally stating they don't oppose transport or holidays. But you're doing that at the back end of the article so your viewers or your readers won't get there. You dishonest bastards! The Green Party doesn't believe people should be deprived of transport or holidays. We do believe in making public transport easier to use by bringing the railways back into public ownership and improving bus services. Based. We also want to see a frequent flyer levy introduced for the tiny percentage of people who use planes like personal taxis. Hannah's ex-partner worked hard to save up and put down the deposit on an uninhabitable building that is in the process of being renovated. Hannah's name is currently on the paperwork, and like many people who have gone through a similar process will know, it can be complex and takes time to untangle personal, financial and living arrangements.
And yeah, incredibly easy responses to a fucking dumb smear article. But again, the fact that they're bringing out these smears, right, on top of Ian Dale's weird fucking Russian impression, and the smears we're seeing across like the latest party political broadcast they did, where it was about how things were better in terms of public ownership at a time before. So they set it up in like a museum that had a house from the 1960s in it or whatever. And people are like, Zach Polonsky thinks this is how working class people live. And I'm like, well, my grandparents still have houses that look like this, right? Like your nan certainly will have houses that at least look like this up until very recently, until they use their triple lock pension to pay to get it renovated, right?
Yeah, like literally, my dad, when he moved into the house that he first sort of lived in when he split from my mum, the person who lived in it before was like an 80-year-old woman who died, and it looked exactly like that Zach Polanski set, literally down to the like horrible green paint that all houses in the 60s had to have, apparently, by law or something.
In the wise words of David Mitchell, it's avocado, you cunt.
Well, it's not even avocado. It was like a kind of darker, horrible green. Like a kind of phlegm green.
It's awful.
And literally, all of the houses had this. Who thought this looked good?
Flock wallpaper.
Yeah, flock wallpaper. Flock wallpaper. You could literally peel off like flakes. I don't know why that was a thing. We got in there. There was fucking carpet in the toilet. They had carpeting in the toilet. Ah, you gross bastards. Oh, old people are disgusting. Sorry. In terms of home decor choice.
These are the people that we trust just to decide every election.
Technically, I suppose she would have been pre-boomer, because she was 80 back when she died back in the early 2000s. So, like 20s or some shit. So she was pre-boomer. Greatest generation, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? But the thing is, like, they're all trying to insinuate that Green Party politicians are out of touch who think that working class people still live like it's the 1960s, when in reality, the whole point of the advert, because it was on terrestrial TV, which no motherfucker under the age of 50 spends any amount of time watching, deliberately to pander to the people who currently don't vote Green, which is the over 65s. And a lot of those people, especially the much older ones who are watching terrestrial television, do live in houses that look like this, or at the very least remember when the houses did look like this. Hence you can do this, remember a better time when we didn't have shit in the rivers, you know?
Yeah, basically, yeah, it's sort of harking back to an older time. Because, again, essentially the kind of policy of social democracy is essentially what it was post-war consensus, right? So it's literally just going back to the kind of economic policy of 1968.
Buttskillism.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that. It's just like Wilsonian government. Not Wilson as in the really racist American president. I mean Harold Wilson, the Prime Minister in Britain in the 60s and 70s. Like, just going back to that is basically where you want to be. That's what Zach Polanski's sort of general approach to this is going to be. Now, there will be adaptations because there's huge differences. They didn't have to deal with the rise of AI, for instance, in 1968. So there's going to be differences. The manufacturing base is a lot smaller than it was back then. And so you're going to have a more modern approach to it. But generally, in terms of the overall approach to governance, it's that's the sort of model you want to go with. Which, like, isn't that revolutionary? Look, Tories basically had that policy in the same time period, really.
I mean, Alex Salons, who proposed the Abolish Landlords motion to Green Party conference, pointed this out in his speech to the conference, saying, look, it was the Marxists of the Conservative Party's housing policy group that said that private rentals would be extinguished by the 1980s, right? That they were well on their way to the end of the private landlord. That was the Conservative position up until Thatcher.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Honestly, Thatcher and Reagan and the kind of Chicago boys economic model have done more damage to the world than virtually anything in human history.
Exactly. I mean, on the subject of the fact that people were mocking Zach Polanski for essentially what was like a metaphor that was being used, the framing that they had used of the video given the set that they'd chosen. All this says to me is that the main qualification that you need to be a conservative in modern politics is being an artless simpleton with zero understanding of subtext.
Yeah, that's conservatism in a nutshell, yes.
I mean, because it happens all the time, right? Where they will just, like, subtext is anathema to them. Like, people who thought that, like, GTA 4 was supposed to be lionizing rather than parodying, right?
Yeah. Well, ultimately, this is conservatism 101. It's the misunderstood. Like, they don't get satire first and foremost, and they treat dystopia as a thing to achieve rather than a thing to avoid. Like the tech feudalism thing, like the book Artificial Intelligence, or the story of artificial intelligence, is literally meant as an allegory about not putting all of the power into technology and having humans at the heart of your governing structure. Basically, it was protecting humanity against potential overreach. Whereas AI is like the exact opposite of that. AI is saying, fuck it. Let's just put everything into this computer model and it'll just work. Honest, bro.
Yeah, and there'll be no one will have to take any accountability for it because it will be the machine's problem.
Yeah.
Thank you, iRobot, for teaching us all that.
iRobot, indeed.
Yeah, like a robot can't be charged anything. If anything, this comes under the remit of an industrial accident.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Yeah. Well,
also,
that's the perfect neoliberal model. That's why they outsource everything to a quango, because you can't then blame the politician. Whereas if it's just a machine doing it, it's never a politician's fault.
No, exactly, 100%. It's not even any people's fault. It's just the robots' fault. Blame the robots. Well, thank you. Alex Sallins is in chat pointing out the actual quote that he used in the conference speech, which is, "The accelerating decline of privately rented sector is quite irreversible. The private landlord, as he exists now and has existed, will within a generation be almost as extinct as the dinosaurs. There is nothing that can be done about this."
And without artificially propping up that system, he would have done.
Yep.
And actually, this is another thing. People mention that as an argument against Keynesian economics, that Keynes himself said that by 1980 we would be able to be working, I think it was a 5-hour work week or something like that, right? Because of the increase in productive capacity and technological advancement. If you put that into reducing the work week based on the living standards of the time in which he wrote, you would be able to have a 5-hour work week, right? Which would have been true, except of course artificially they stimulated the people's want for absolute dog shit, pointless things that you don't actually need to live at all, or even have a good quality of life, that he couldn't possibly have predicted. So he wasn't wrong. He was working out on the basis that evil, like, capitalist fuck pigs wouldn't, like, destroy the world to create cheap plastic shit. Which he got wrong, to be fair, because that did happen. But it doesn't mean that his mathematics were wrong.
Well, yeah, because it happened not because of some kind of quirk of society. It didn't happen out of the ether. People deliberately and maliciously shaped society so that it wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Honestly, so much of what's wrong in the world isn't some accident of circumstance or geography or whatever. It's the evil machinations of self-interested evil bastards.
Although I will say, like, that is in combination with the material incentives of the capital owners to ensure that the Keynesian dream never
Well, no, that's
right. Like,
that's precisely what I mean. Like, it's literally it's self-interested people, and to be fair, systems, because it's not just individual choice that's a matter here. There's a systemic problem.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, someone who is like let's say you are the boss of a factory. It isn't just your personal decision to want to exploit people, although you are making that decision in taking that job in the first place, of course. It's the fact that there is a system at play that means you have to extract as much excess resource from your workers as you possibly can, because if you don't, you get fired by the shareholders.
Yep.
So there is
fiduciary responsibility.
There is like a kind of a systemic problem there as well. But ultimately, the artificially propping up of things like landlordism, like disposability and all of that sort of stuff, is being done by self-interested, financially malign people.
Well, exactly, and the politicians who did their bidding, right?
Yeah,
There's the famous Lenin quote that I bring up every single time, which is that capitalist society is democracy for an insignificant minority, the democracy for the very richest.
Yeah, exactly. And now we've got literally the situation of sorry, what's that link? Oh, okay, yeah. We got the situation now where I've literally forgotten what it. Someone sent me the fucking link to Prince Andrew's The Sweaty Nonce video, and I got distracted by the noncings. Don't clip that out of context, you cunts. No, stop. No, that will not be featured on the fucking page.
Trying to look at the stuff that I was wanting to talk about on stream today. One sec.
Well, I'm basically done, so I think I'll just raid into you.
I mean, I don't know if you had any thoughts about the Josh Simon stuff.
Not really, no. Like I genuinely, I think I'm basically done. Sorry, like I don't want to like leave you in the lurch if you wanted to do a dual thing there, but like.
No, it's just fine. I mean, I'm just kind of simply so yeah. Like I don't have much to talk about either because we covered most of the stuff. Because I was going to talk about both the Party Political Broadcast and also this Daily Mail article, and then we just kind of got through both.
Yeah, well, the thing that unfortunately it's not. There isn't a lot of substance to the article. Like it was worth covering just to like show you how absurd the fucking
smears.
The smears are, but like there's no substance to it. There's no grit you can really get your teeth into there because there's nothing.
You know what? I'm like Michael Jordan. I like a good dunk.
True, very true. Yes, and I'm like Michael Jordan in that I'm fat and old. So, just saying. Anyway, so I'm basically done. But yeah, my thoughts on Josh Simons are don't be a cunt.
Oh, he should resign.
Absolutely,
should resign.
yeah. If you are harassing journalists or whatever, you're not fit to be in public office. That's they're there, and we obviously attack the media a lot because they're fucking shit, and there's so many of them are client journalists. But realistically, in the capitalist system, this is what was always going to happen, and you can't have a democratic system without a free press.
That's true. I think what is important, I think the thing the media are criticising for this is that all of this stuff that Josh Simons was doing was reported by people from Open Democracy, was reported by Paul Holden and Andrew Feinstein, who were also targeted by Josh Simons, and the press was silent about this. People like Pippa Crerar from The Guardian even said to Paul Holden, we think about publishing this thing that it links to the stuff that was found by APCO and by Josh Simons at the time, right? And so Paul Holden was on the other end of The Guardian, being alongside people like Josh Simons, right? Like this is like 100 layers deep in terms of how the press talk about this. The only time they actually decided that maybe Josh Simons had been the one in the wrong, or that Morgan McSweeney had done something that was in the wrong in terms of how Labour Together functioned, was only when people that mattered were the ones that became the target.
Exactly.
Since it's Harry York and Gabriel Pogrund from the Times, the Murdoch paper of record. Oh no, the in-group are being targeted. Our class is being targeted. Oh, this is an outrage. When Paul Holden, independent journalist, the people actually doing the work to hold the government to account in lieu of our failed mainstream media, fucking crickets.
Exactly. When they were trot hunting, when they were getting rid of Jewish members for not being the right kind of Jew, that sort of thing. When they were attacking journalists that don't matter. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But you went after the wrong targets, lads, because these people think they matter. And so that's why you're getting a lot of this pushback now. Now, there's a great noticing about all of the evil things that they obviously already knew about, like Mandelson and the Yum Yum Gate, but decided to ignore at the time. It's interesting how that works. It's almost like it's not really journalism at all. And it's all narrative forming and manufacturing of your consent.
They're courtiers. They're jesters.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Stenographers.
Yes, indeed. They are weird little fucking minstrels singing songs that the upper class have told them to sing. That's it.
Exactly. And again, the only people doing real journalism are independent journalists. I am not one of them. I am a YouTuber. But
that's not really true. I think you have to. Like, I know you don't want to because the title comes along with expectations and blah blah blah. But you do journalism now. You cover the news constantly. You're on like Novara now, which is an independent news outlet. You are a journalist, right? Now, I know that seems bad because every time we ever mention journalists, it's because they're like evil bastards who are doing the bidding of even more evil bastards. But you're one of the good journalists. So come the revolution, I'll put in a good word with you with the Politburo. I can't promise anything, but look, you might get cushier apartments in the gulag. You know? Just saying.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, indeed. So, no, but you basically are. Yeah.
So thank you, Henry VIII Fake, for the 20 gifted. That's incredibly generous of you. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, you've got an oiler called Henry VIII.
I literally have an oiler called Henry VIII. They've been incredibly generous. Oh, you know what's really sick as well? Have you seen that there's been like two actual constituency polls, and they show both the Greens are ahead of both Reform and Labour, and they show that the undecideds break for the Greens in terms of tactically voting against Reform UK, meaning that there's literally no argument that Labour can use that they should be the vote to stop Reform.
Honestly,
which only means one thing: the coalition's going to collapse.
Literally. And I can't, like, I want the Greens to win this so badly, not just because it's like the right choice and fuck Matt Goodwin, I don't want him in Parliament, but I desperately want to laugh in the faces of a different bias and Graham Hughes, who were just like, oh, the Green Party want Reform to win. Like,
and then the reality is actually Labour. I mean, Labour have stated openly in leaks to the press that they want reform to win because it's existential. If the Greens come ahead of them, it takes away basically the only bargaining chip they have with left-leaning voters, which is the idea that only they can stop reform, which immediately becomes untrue if they start finishing both behind the Greens and reform, because then they're the splitters.
Yeah. The Kev Starpo will turn a blind eye. Can we not make Kev Starpo a thing? Can we actually not? Like, I do jokes about like Jeremy Corbyn being fucking, Heil Corbyn and all of that, right? It's a joke, though. Let's not make Kev Starpo into a thing. No.
So the NKEV VD.
That's really good. Okay, we'll have NKEV VD. Fine. Yes. Was it the NKVD or the predecessor? I think it was the GBU, wasn't it? Literally the translation from Russian is "Death be it to spies," which is like a really cool reason to be called that. Yeah, yeah.
Well, they just changed the name because originally it was the Checker, wasn't it?
It was the Checker, and then it became this. Was it the Special Committee or whatever briefly, and then it became the BU or whatever, and then the NKVD, and then the KGB. Yeah, they liked, much like the modern Labour Party, they did like a reset. They never became not like evil totalitarians, but they did like a reset. So yeah,
literally. At the very least, in Yugoslavia, it was called the UDBA from the start until the end.
Oh, it was called OGPU. Originally as well.
OGPU, love it.
OGPU, yeah.
Thank you, Michael, for the 10 gifties. Appreciate the support.
Yeah. Okay.
Someone asked for Keir Starpo. Surely it's Starmap tiling you're thinking of.
Literally. That's so good, because that's literally the SA. Stormtroopers, yeah.
It's the Stormtroopers from the Starmap tiling. It's who reads Der Starmer.
Der Starmer! No! No! Der Starmer.
Speaking of which, right, there's a tweet from that person I mentioned who came up with Moron McSkeemy, who said, like, the worst thing that he's done here is given actual conspiracy theories for the Trotskyist cranks to believe everything bad about the Labour right. And I'm just like, what you're saying here, by the way, Stella, is that the Labour left were just correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Too early?
You're giving them ammunition by telling them the truth about how terrible we are. Which, by the way, just means you're literally saying, can you not be honest, please? We want you to be dishonest. Which doesn't make you look better. Just, I'm just putting that out there.
Literally. I mean, it's like, but again, it's just the idea that they thought that everything was just happy, clappy, easy politics before Morgan McSweeney became the leader of the party. And of course, the purges got worse, right? But this internal wrangling of the party, the treating of party conference as a way of schmoozing billionaires and corporations rather than as a meeting of members, that shit's new Labour. That's been from day one until today, and the Mandelson stuff shows that to be the case.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm still very much appreciating Der Starmer. That's in the Logan. That's the sweet spot for Kev right there. Boom. Lovely. That's the perfect joke. God almighty, that's so mad. Anyway,
I'll say it's gonna be good. I'm definitely gonna clip the bit where we talked about Rwandan council housing for TikTok. That was so good.
Well, that's good, because literally we built such great housing in Kigali, and yet we can't build anything here. It's fucking madness. I'd never seen the inside of it before. All I'd seen was like the outside, where it just looked like, it's just a regular block of like apartments. Okay, fine. But then inside, it's like a Moroccan paradise. What the fuck? Have you seen the horrible, sterile, like fucking 1984-esque tower blocks they build here? They're fucking horrible. Jesus Christ.
Anyway, right, let's call that there.
Yeah.
10 p.m. Sorry, YouTube viewers, you only got like an hour-long stream. I did stream for 2 hours on Twitch beforehand as well, so there is a bunch of content there for you to watch too. I probably won't upload that as a segment though, but everyone should go. What they should do, you should go and follow Kevin Logan.
And you should go and follow No Justice of the MTGs immediately. Also, someone in chat said, it's okay, they made it out of rack. So, yeah. It'll look really nice for the first 2 years, and then it'll fall down. Okay, I'll send you.
Knowing the Tories, right?
Well, exactly. Yeah. I'll send you over to some random geek who is a regular lurker here on the YouTubes.
I will do likewise over on the YouTubes.
And who's going on Twitch? I don't know. I'll go to Tina too. Fuck it, I haven't been over to her for a while, so go and say hello. She's Canadian, but don't hold that against her. And they literally elect people in things called ridings. It's mental.
I mean, Canada has actual politics to talk about now, so...
Literally, they actually literally do, yeah. Although, to be fair...
Mark's Carney.
Mark's Carney. Amazing. That's a whole different bag. It's too late to get into. I can't be bothered.
No, exactly.
Okay, everyone. I'll be back.
Free Palestine.
Probably tomorrow or something, maybe. I don't know.
We've got Laura Coons back, haven't we?
Oh, yeah. Look, yeah, LK. Yeah, okay. So we'll do that. So 9 o'clock
Yeah.
usual time, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
So everyone knows. 9 o'clock tomorrow evening, which is 4 p.m. on the east coast of America. Be there and be square.
And rectangle.
Or whatever shape you like, frankly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.